Whether you believe in it or not, it is destiny that has brought us here to episode 3 of the Men of Destiny podcast. I'm your host for this episode, Galdred, and to my left,
this is Hyaran.
And straight across from me,
hey guys, Base here.
God damn it. And so this episode, we're going to be going over our thoughts on the summer series of anime, as well as what we're looking forward to for the fall season. Fall series season, same shit.
I mean, yeah, pretty much the same thing.
So
We don't have seasons where we live. It's all hot.
it's all just...
I don't blame you. When's the last time you saw a leaf fall?
Wow. Well,
Probably
never.
Last year
Yeah, right.
for like a day, and that was a leaf.
well, we're getting there. It's starting to cool down a bit, so that's kind of nice. We can bust out the jackets soon.
Yeah, we'll bust something out.
Of course you will. Anyways, so I got a little list here that I kind of want to go off of for the summer season.
Yeah.
And the first one I want to talk about is God of High School. So as people, you guys that read the manhwa, how do you feel like it did overall?
Okay, so like if it was in a vacuum, right? If it was in a vacuum, I'd probably say like it did I would give it like an 8, right? But having read the manhwa and seen the webtoon, I gotta give it like a 7 or like a 6.5 in terms of how like hype certain fights went, because like reading it, I'd hoped that like they would animate certain scenes, like I talked about this in the first podcast, right? Where like just like the triple kick by itself just looks so much cooler like in a still page than it did animated, and that in itself is kind of upsetting in its own way.
But everything leading up to that, in that fight against Dawe, everything was just like mind-blowing. Granted, yeah, I wish the actual like triple kick would have been more impressive than, because for the new time viewers, it's like, oh, it's just 3 kicks, but like in the context of the webtoon, it's so much more.
Yeah, and the thing is, like the triple kick, and then even Daiwi's tiger stance, right? Like that is just, it just looks like him punching and kicking a lot. But again, like that looks way cooler in the manhwa too, and even the fight at the end, right? There's like so much more context to that, and like a lot of the characters that are really important for whenever like the second season comes out, because like a lot of the characters that we saw at the beginning of the show within like the first like 3 episodes or so, a lot of them come back later, and they're really, and some of them are really prominent. For example, like spoilers, right? Like the kid with a bat who fought Daiwi at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he has like glasses. I'm pretty sure like 99% of the people listening probably don't even remember that he existed. Yeah. Like
you said it. Yep.
Like look at Galdred over here. Just like who the fuck is that kid again? Yeah, he is one of the most important characters of the series, and they gave him a 30-second fight where he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Well, it was still kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, he was interesting.
And so like I enjoyed God of High School overall, right? But like as someone who read it, like I can't say it really did it a ton of justice being adapted. Like it was still,
It's kind of hard because like rewatching this, kind of reliving the first arc, it really flies off the chain.
Yeah, and the thing
it's kind of hard to capture all that, and I'm gonna assume the deal they had wasn't like necessarily the biggest. Like this seemed like this was the one they kind of like had to dip their toes in and be like, oh, let's see how this collaboration goes with webtoons.
Yeah,
and for something like this, it's pretty crazy.
And I just
considering like I think what suffered the most is kind of like you kind of just have to assume that they're drawing powers upon the gods.
Yeah.
With the
Charyuki.
Yeah, the
or something.
Chaudiac. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
They pronounce it different because you know
they can't pronounce
Japanese pronunciation
of Korean words.
Yeah.
So you have to infer off of that, and then from there it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna kill the gods with gods at the high school.
Sure. Like for me who hasn't read it at all, like, man, that pacing, like that shit goes from 0 to 100 real fast. Because you're just like, oh, sweet tournament arc, and then it's just like, all right, here we go. We're gonna bring in gods and weird mysticism, and everyone's got like stands.
Yeah.
And shit.
Well, that doesn't really like come into like what episode 8, like the really last part. So thankfully, like it's really nice and tight. Like it's a good package from the beginning till when. I'm so terrible with manhwa names.
I'm about to say I'm gonna mess
until
all these names up.
Until Shark Dude comes in.
Until Shark Boy.
Until the Chaudiac shows up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
specifically him.
Yeah, I think my main issue was just that like a lot of the things that I had hoped that they would have adapted well, they didn't adapt well. And then again, there were like problems with the pacing, obvious reasons. Like, for instance, like I had kind of hoped that they changed the entire fight between Ilpio's team and Mori's team, right?
Yeah.
Like that entire fight, like
When he became Mozilla Firefox.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, like that. It's like so. For those of you who didn't read it, so Mori, like in an attempt to get through the tournament as fast as possible, he ended up fighting like their entire team in a single go, right? And he ended up losing to Ilpio only for Mira to come in and win later after he ran out of power.
Yeah.
Or and then like the fight at the end that happens in the hospital, right? That doesn't happen there at the hospital. It actually happens during the tournament. So it just goes straight from that fight to the next fight instead of there being like a little break in between. But I guess they didn't want to explain like the weird like second, third place thing that they did in the manual, and I guess I understand that because again they were short on time.
Yeah, and they kind of got the, I guess, consolation prizes for the wish at the end.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that like we also don't get to see Daiwi's Chariok, which we get to see at this point. Yeah,
like the healing water.
Yeah, and so that's a little bit
Which I thought
disappointing.
was I always thought that was kind of odd. I'm like, how do you go from like the 4 sacred beasts to like water
Well,
at that point in time?
yeah, and so there are quite a few things missing. There's like that, and then of course the thing that probably like got me the most annoyed was when they called him Satan Taisei instead of Sun Wukong.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And like for people who don't know, like those are like two totally different characters. Like Satan Taisei is like I guess you could say that he's like a ripped off Sun Wukong for Japan instead. But like the powers that the only power that they share that is similar is that they both use a stick and they have clouds and they ride on clouds. And after that, that's where the similarities end. Like Satan Taisei is not even a monkey, right? He's just it's like he's a dude who
Well, they call him an ape.
Yeah. Well,
They're like, well, you know what we mean, guys.
well, they call Mori an ape.
Yeah.
But, but Satan Taisei himself is like
like
a
you could
normal
tell they're
warrior
trying to
guy,
make the parallel without doing it, which I don't know why. It's like,
It's kind of roundabout.
in a very roundabout way.
maybe,
And that's
maybe just maybe they were like trying to avoid shit from Toei. You never know. I mean, obviously,
that's really dumb.
I'm just
like,
trying to think of
like,
that'd be kind of funny, honestly.
like that would be really dumb because at that point it's like Toei doesn't own the Journey to the West.
God, I hope
Yeah,
not.
the original
Watch me
series
find
itself.
out they fucking got
They
the,
have this legendary old story just under wraps.
I mean,
the Kiritoriyama owns Journey to the West.
I mean, if
That'd
that's
be
the case, then like a lot of China's movies are gonna have to get. It's like they're gonna have to sue China for all the movies they made for
Yeah.
Journey
just
to the
all
Why
West.
do you think
China.
the relationships are so bad right now?
I mean, aside from obvious reasons,
It's only because they got Journey to the West stolen.
They said those bastards.
but yeah, overall, like in a vacuum, it gets like a solid like 7.5, and then like it like as an adaptation, it's like a 6, maybe even a 5 if I'm feeling really low on it. But
The one thing that they got right the whole time was this the Trinity, the main three.
yeah,
in my opinion, like
yeah,
that's
that was
what
good.
really carried everything. Like everything else that was happening, like obviously visually, it's always so like stimulating, and it hits most of the time. Like it was kind of weird with the whole like power struggle between like the oncoming god from what was his name?
oh, from Mujin and then Mondak.
Or
Yeah,
whatever.
Mondak.
Yeah, Mondak, the priest.
Which he was kind of set up weird. He kind of just
I
became
Happened?
important. Yeah.
I mean, again,
that's one of the things that suffered is just like we are Nox. There's a lot of us. Here we are, and then not Kisame comes in. It's like the key. I'm like, what key?
yeah, they took out that entire part too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I noticed. I'm like,
took out that. They took out why Tegel has such like a hard on for trying to kill Ilpio. Like they took that out.
mm-hmm.
Like aside from the fact that we know that like I mean yeah, I guess Ilpio beat his ass for chomping the other girl's foot or like for breaking the other girl's leg, but why? We never got that really. It's just as an adaptation, like comparatively to when it was like 4 episodes in where I felt like pretty satisfied about it. Now that we've gotten to the end and it's over, it's like It could have been a lot better, for sure.
But as a first installment of a new series, I think it landed pretty well.
Yeah, someone that didn't read the manga, I feel like I was pretty satisfied. I was entertained, so I'm pretty cool with it. I'm looking forward to if they ever, hopefully,
It'll come back. It was like by and large, at one point, it was like the most popular anime.
Mm-hmm.
I would be hard pressed to say that it was if we were to check the quote unquote rankings.
Looking back on last season, maybe. Like, just look at
I'm pretty sure it was up there.
Yeah, but there's other stuff maybe you guys want to talk about that I didn't watch. I don't know if you want to get that out of the way now with Great Pretender.
Oh yeah, so as of this moment, right,
we pretty much talked about it from the last episode.
Yeah,
because well, they pushed it back.
Yeah, here in the U.S. right now, we don't have the second half of Great Pretender yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could find like whatever subs out there, but I was like, I'll wait. That has been preoccupied with so many other things, but still on track to be like my anime of the year. I just really want to see that, case 4.
Yeah, and
all I know is that they go back to LA for this one.
I'm really excited to see it. Like, it's definitely gonna be something that like will either really elevate the series or like push it to from being like great to just good, which isn't like bad.
The good pretender,
right? Yeah.
The decent pretender.
Yeah.
The decent pretender.
The mid pretender. Well, because this one, I would assume it's about Laurent, the one we know the least about.
Right. So I'm hoping that like this all ties everything together. I mean, not that it didn't already feel pretty tied well together, but like at this point, after thinking about how I feel about God of High School at the beginning to the end, I'm hoping that my feelings of Great Pretender stay consistent from now and when we see the last half of it. Other than that, like, yeah, there's not really much else to say about it. Yeah.
No, yeah, nothing new other than it needs to come out already. Apparently, it's not gonna be till like November.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
That's not too bad.
No, it just sucked because it was supposed to be October 24th. The fact that Netflix always splits these like anime projects up like this, like with Little Witch Academia when that happened, and probably others. Well, at least with Netflix shows that like they have the exclusive rights to, not necessarily like Naruto or Bleach.
Yeah, because they did it with this. They did it with like Fate Apocrypha. They did it with like Fate Last Encore.
Granted, with the Fate stuff, I feel like they were the quickest with. I could be remembering wrong, but I know especially with the
same amount of time.
Apocrypha, I feel like I got through that quick.
Oh no, with Apocrypha, it took it like 6 months in between or something like that.
It just didn't feel as long.
Yeah, it just didn't feel as long, but yeah, it took a while. So like, they're doing the same thing with Great Pretender. It feels even longer, even though it's not nearly as long, because I think it's only
because in the year 2020, time has no meaning.
That's true.
Yeah, like,
but I mean, it's still a long time, right? It's like 4 months in between or something like that, because it came out in July, I want to say. Yeah, for like the first half of the series here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be about like 3 to 4 months ish when we finally get it.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, if anything, we might even bring it up in the. Obviously, we'll bring it up in the fall episode, but who knows? There might even just be an episode dedicated to it. So when we see it, we'll tell you. But so far, it's on its way to being like the top contender for the year in general.
Definitely my favorite summer anime so far, right? I guess that, and then the other summer anime that like I really liked was Deca-Dence.
That was really good.
It's like it's short.
Because last time we talked about it, we left off of the part where they were about to go fight the Gadol nest.
Right. So that was like
That's
4
like-
episodes from the end, because it ended on episode 12.
12.
Yeah. And
that's around the time where he gets caught.
Yeah, and
by the not Matrix and the not agents.
yeah, and
he has to get his new account and his new body.
Yeah, and it was very consistent, right? Like, that's the thing I liked most about Deca-Dence, was that it was very consistent all the way through, and that like Kabu and like all the stuff like surrounding that, like it was very kind of like trip in its own way, right? Like, again, like you said, it's very similar to the Matrix, except instead of the humans being plugged into the Matrix, it's the robots being plugged into the
cyborgs,
Matrix.
yeah, androids.
Yeah.
That's always been a weird thing with anime. Like, obviously, most obvious example would be Dragon Ball Z, where it's like they're androids, but they're actually cyborgs. Like, they kind of have that weird thing in this too.
Did they? Because I remember them just calling them robots.
They kind of
right? Did they?
interchanged it. Not nearly as much though.
Okay, but like yeah, man, like Decadence was just really enjoyable. Like the twist that came in the second episode, like from the beginning to now, it's probably like the thing I'm most happy about until the second half of Great Pretender comes out, because and the relationship between like Natsume and Kaburagi is like it's such a wholesome experience between the two of them. You
It's
know?
very easy to root for Natsume. You would think she's kind of the dopey, loudmouth character, but that's never the case.
I mean, the funny part is like she is the dopey loudmouth character, but the thing is
Well,
that
she
like
quickly changes.
Yeah,
Like that's really not a thing. Like after episode 4.
well, it's like she is like it's like she's still dopey, and she's still a loudmouth. But the thing is
well,
that
she's
not.
she's inexperienced, not like dumb or not so much like save me senpai all the time. Like she's pretty independent, which I liked a lot.
Well, because for me, it's like I like that Natsume still has like that silliness about her,
Yeah,
but like they don't make it like abrasive, right? Like they're not shoving it in your face that like Natsume is.
She's not
like,
exactly a damsel in distress.
Yeah, like Natsume is not like a damsel in distress, nor is she always like the butt end of the joke, right?
Yeah.
Like when she is the butt of the joke, like it's warranted.
Because like Kaburagi clearly pushes the story the most, but it's nice that Natsume is like that for when they split. You know, from when Kaburagi's with him and the other robots in the like the underground portion.
Yeah, like in
when
the
they're-
last half of the series.
Mhm. Again, then compared to Natsume, where she's kind of trying to cope with the idea of like her master being in and out and not there all the time.
Also, I really liked how they handled her finding out that he was like a robot.
Oh, when she got red pilled.
Yeah,
Oh.
basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that was probably like
It was a very appropriate response,
Yeah.
but she was also handled it, pretty well, because she's like, wow, this whole, we're essentially living in a simulation, or rather, we're like meant for entertainment for like the higher end robots who control our lives, and not everyone knows about it. Like, how am I supposed to handle that? And he's like, well, it is what it is, but I changed my ways because of you. So I like that revelation a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was like one of the best handled parts of the series. Ironically, because I was really worried that part was gonna suck. No lie, I was really worried that she was going to learn it, and then she would just be like immediately just, you know what? I don't care that you're a robot, and just kind of go that really like straight path that you kind of expect like characters of like Natsume's like archetype to handle it. Either
Yeah.
that, or she would just completely just go over, just like brood about it.
Mm-hmm.
She would just brood about it for like 2 or 3 episodes, but
Because she could have been even more upset about it. Because when she finds out his avatar gets killed
yeah.
by the purple Agent Smith.
Well, I mean, he doesn't die right when she finds that, or
Well, it's
right
like
when
they
she finds
find out and they're like, we still got work to do. She's like, all right, and then just
Well, no, she finds out. It's because they find out after the Gadol nest,
Mhm.
and then after they break down the nest, and she takes her back.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, I don't want to see you anymore. Like, why would you tell me something like this? You know,
Mhm.
like telling me that no matter what we do, like that those monsters are always gonna come back. Like, why would and that our entire lives are basically being monitored by these robots and shit. Like, why would you tell me some stupid? It's like, why would you tell me that like that just like the fact that it ruined her whole perspective stuff. So, and I like that, like when she finally got over it was when he died, right?
Yeah, that's that's exactly what
when
I was
she finally
saying.
gets over it, that's
Yeah.
when he dies, because after a while, Natsume, after thinking about it, like, and going through and like sort of like vaguely talking about it with like the other characters and stuff like that, as she finally gets over it and she goes back and tries to contact him, and when she tries to contact him, that's when his avatar ends up dying, and it moves into the final arc of the series.
Mhm.
And it was handled really well.
I really liked the last part where it always kept paralleling the Matrix, like especially with Revelations, where where Neo goes to the Machine City and hacks into like essentially the core of the machines, and then Kaburagi does the same thing but with Deca-Dence.
Dude, when they were talking about like when the pink robot, damn, I can't even remember her name, but like the pink robot, she's just like man, I wonder if he's gonna find that like system inside the Deca-Dence I put. I thought that it was gonna transform into a giant robot or something.
Yeah.
Or it was gonna combine a whole bunch of other parts and turn into like a giant robot and like sock the shit out of it. Instead, went like more the Gurren Lagann route, and it was like, would you like a drill for it? It's like, would you like to punch it with a drill arm instead?
Nice.
That was also a really neat interaction because you found out like that stupid like bird avatar
Oh, it was like the real
was
like, god
the
of the system,
real like
the real
overlord, the
administrator,
the real big brother,
Mhm.
and that was that part I really liked because that's what really the show really came down to is like how silly it could be for anyone or anything to try to control like life in general. Because the whole premise is that like literally what was it, a corporation bought the rights to humanity.
Yeah, pretty much.
You thought buying
Wow.
Journey to the West was silly.
Oh, my God.
Just buy a whole race.
You gotta get the copyright.
So just kind of seeing that interaction between like Kaburagi and how far he's come from, being essentially like the secret agent for them, taking out the bugs to like, bugs are what make life.
Yeah, I just like that it basically just said, it's like you can have, it's like flaws aren't something to be
Yeah, you can't control it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when they tried to, like when they got rid of all the good dolls, like life found a way.
yeah.
Pulled a Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and even the like system itself admits, right? It's like, there always could be flaws, it's just it's just the system changing,
Mhm.
and that it's like it's not that we try to control it, it's that the guy our system administrator tried to control it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Which
in its
led
own
to
way.
a really like nice ending, really conclusive.
Oh yeah,
because
for sure.
the Deca-Dence, the like moving fortress, breaks down, becomes a new city, more vivacious and lush.
Yeah, they basically go from being like Monster Hunter to like Animal
Yeah,
Crossing.
like it's
Wow.
it's a much
all turn into
nicer, greener
creatures?
version of like Zion. Because
Okay.
before it was like very, very concrete, very
Yeah.
just like dull and
Caves
gray.
and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but once it breaks down, and then everyone goes about their ways. They're like, we still have ways to enjoy it because before it was just the humans were essentially acting as the MMO, but it's like
Yeah.
now we can all enjoy this MMO.
And
Now it's all free to play.
And at the very end, we see that Natsume has like her own like travel agency essentially,
Okay.
takes people around the world, whatnot. But then at the very, very end, we see Kaburagi's old avatar come back.
Wow.
So that leads me to believe that there won't be another season.
Sounds
What-
very
you-
conclusive to me.
You very, and I'm
I mean-
happy. But my only thing is that like, remember, there's other corporations
well, I mean
that
that's
when they tell us in episode 2. So that's my only other thing. I'm like,
yeah.
are they okay with them? So like, yeah, we took out a. What was the name of the corporation? It had a kind of a silly name. It reminded me of a Metal Gear name.
Well, I mean they didn't get taken out, right? They're still there.
Yeah,
They're-
yeah,
like,
but-
that-
But they lost their game.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, they just turned it into a new game. That's
Yeah.
basically what they did. That's what the ending is
Mhm.
essentially. And the thing is that like they could go into that. I prefer for them not to go into that at
I'm
this
just
point.
wondering if they will.
Yeah, like it's open, right? Like it's
Mhm.
open for them to do that because technically the robots are still like the overlords.
I would
Yeah,
I would
right?
see that like being in novels or something.
Yeah, like I can see like some side material stuff come up for that. And
But this was the first for Studio Nut. No, I'm not making that up. It's Studio Nut.
You're I was about to
No, it's
No.
look at you with the most confused look.
Nut Animation Studio, but
Is it an acronym
from what
Or-
I've seen,
or is it just straight up nut?
it's just
it's,
a nut.
yeah, it's straight up nut, bro.
Oh, all
They've
right.
done other. They worked on other stuff.
I'm looking at our editor right now, and his face is the same as mine. Just like real shit.
Well, it's their first because they did work on a Fully Cooley Alternative, but this is like their first original.
Like
They
They
solo
did like
series.
work on Fully Cooley Alternative and Saga of Tanya the Evil.
All right.
So as their like inaugural like first original TV anime, it's pretty good. It never really got to a point where I was just like, OMG, this is like above
Boring.
and beyond my
Yeah.
expectations, or like there was never necessarily an X factor. Like everything was just good,
I
as
just
fine
thought
as
it
it needed to
solid.
be. Yeah,
Mhm.
I enjoyed it. I would recommend it to friends, but I don't necessarily expect everyone to be as into it
Oh, yeah, for sure.
as say you and I, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was definitely worth the watch. Just
Yeah.
the name itself was always being tossed around.
Yeah,
So like I'm really glad I went into it like very blind.
I will say that like that the twist at the end of the second episode where like they go into the robots being a thing,
Yeah.
like that in itself is a watching it for the first time, like sorry Galdred, like for you, like if you ever decide to watch it, right? Like
well, it's kind of
It's definitely
yeah,
interesting
out there
to
already.
see, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's visually, there's very contrasting styles, or when they focus on the humans or the
versus the
tankers,
robots. Yeah.
versus like the users.
Yeah, and so it's like that surprise of like the robots being a thing like was something that like really drew me into the series, and like I know it drew like a lot of other people into the series.
If
too.
you like The Matrix, including the sequels, you'll like this show, because that's obviously like the biggest parallel.
Yeah, it's like this in the Matrix.
Or at the very least, if you like Monster Hunter, there's some aspects of that. Like
Monster
you
Hunter
would
the
think
Matrix.
it's like Attack on Titan-esque, but it's like I see more Monster Hunter, just because like how they use what was the name of the blood that like fueled everything? I said it a bunch. The Oxyone.
Yeah, the
Oxydone?
Oxy one.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. It's like this blood is our food and our fuel for both the organic beings and
the robots.
The robots. I was like, oh shit. The biggest takeaway is that only Poo-Poo can save us, because that's how they break out of the prison, is igniting quite literally the monster shit.
Oh, so it is Poo-Poo.
Yes.
Oh wow. what a what you call
It makes more sense in context.
Okay, I was just like, wow, out of context, that sounds terrible.
I'd give it like a light 8 to like a strong 7. I did like it. I just wouldn't say like I'm gonna rave about it. I'm like, it was nice, especially in a season where there was definitely like really big stinkers, but obviously really like strong hitters.
Yeah.
I give it like a solid 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid 7.5.
And I give it an A.
It's so hard to come by like one and done like anime originals.
Yeah, and this one's definitely a pretty good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna assume there won't be like Deca-Dence 2 or like Deca-Dence. Actually, the only thing I wanted more was more Kurenai and her crew.
Oh yeah.
I feel like she got kind of the short end of the stick.
Definitely did.
But she was always good no matter what. Just like we needed more of her.
Yeah.
She was like the big titty warrior woman.
All right. I could see why you want more of her.
Yeah.
I understand.
She was. I wanted her to be more of like the mother figure to Natsume, which she was, but she just wasn't there as much.
Nearly as often, yeah.
Like it was like the Kaburagi show, and then it was the Natsume show. I'm like, I had to complete the trinity. But she was fine. I don't really remember the other like ragtag crew, because they're there, sort of.
Yeah, they're not really that.
That was really my only bugaboo. I'm like, oh. But it makes having your Funimation account worth it.
Well, there are more reasons. We'll get to later. Absolutely. Next on my list, I got Fire Force, which obviously was probably my favorite anime last season.
Gotta confess my sins. I'm not caught up, so I won't be in this as much. But like, beginning to that season is awesome.
They started off really strong, just right out the gate, and of course that new opening, Spark Again slapped. I was like, yes, it's back. I'm ready. Hook this shit to my veins. I've been waiting for this.
What have been your thoughts about this current arc? Considering you're probably the biggest fan.
Yes.
So, I mean, I really like it because, like, I was telling our other friend, like, this is the Bleach parallel I've been wanting for like a long time.
Just funny that it came from like the creator of Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Which, I also love Soul Eater, so that's a plus for me.
I guess Soul Eater was also a parallel. It's just I was never necessarily into it. You got to ask our editor about that. That's his jam.
Hey, B-Boy, we should do a Soul Eater episode. At some point, we'll get down with that at some point.
And then do Soul Eater not.
No, we're not gonna do an episode on Soul Eater not.
This is
man, I was so disappointed.
Soul
in that.
Eater psych.
Anyways, the new episode of the new season of Fire Force. It was strong overall. Them going to China? Basically China.
Well, I mean, it's like
Fire China?
before going to China, right? Because did we talk about the first portion of
We didn't
Fire
really talk
Force?
about like the whole
season
fifth
2,
pillar.
right? Like where they found like that pink-haired bitch.
Oh, dude, I completely forgot that was a thing. I
With-
thought we did talk about it.
Barely.
Did we talk about it?
Because you were saying your
that's
hatred
right.
for her.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's why I was
hate that
going
character,
straight to
by the way.
China.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
China.
So
Well, I still like her fire clairvoyance. I think that
yeah,
power's
that's pretty
cool.
clean. And then
That's
the whole
cool.
like finishing the trail to make stuff go boom.
I just hope that when she finally dies, she dies a pretty horrible death, or if she does stay alive, right? Like she gets into like a mind break situation.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You just want the worst for her.
dude, she
Want her to
sucks.
suffer.
Pink
I
hair
hate
characters
her.
in this show seem very decisive because I don't really care for Hibana, the first like major pink haired girl.
Dude, I love
You
Hibana,
Princess
bro.
Hibana?
No, she doesn't fool me.
It doesn't fool you. I was like, I'm very surprised you don't care for mean, she doesn't show up much nowadays.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there
She's
was-
very prominent in the first season.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well, because they essentially like start their research and development division.
But if you
Well,
want to,
well, then she kind of was involved in the only fight I thought was kind of dumb.
Oh, between her and
Oh.
Shinra.
Yeah, because he just won just
Yeah.
because.
it was a solid
Like
punch.
she had her power was insane. I'm like, I'm gonna give you vertigo. I'm like, oh shit.
It's like, oh,
I'm like, he doesn't have a clear counter to this, but I'm just gonna go anyways.
I'm just gonna
like,
hit you.
okay, whatever. That's legit my only issue with the show in its entirety. So
Well, it's not bad then.
yeah, but Fire China though.
If you want to, okay, going back to the pink hair thing, if you want to wrap it in a bow, like the fight between him and Big Buff,
Dude
white
with-
clad
yeah.
dude, that was cool. Seeing his finisher, was it Corona?
Oh yeah,
How
the
you pronounce it?
the Corona
Kick sort of
yeah.
thing. And he goes rock and roll. That was pretty cool, even though it kind of ended up to being nothing in the long run.
Yeah.
Because like he does it, and the guy's like, "Oh, you finally did some damage, huh?" And then he still
And then he gets his
loses.
ass kicked. I mean
And-
that arc was cool, right? And then seeing them work together to kill the demon, that was really cool.
yeah, it's like all the companies doing like this big ass all out attack,
They had
On
the
it.
giant fire tornado.
mhm,
Yeah.
and then freezing it and hitting a sniper and all that crazy shit. That was clean. And then yeah, we went to Fire Force China to find out more information on the Amaterasu
Burst,
type
yeah.
thing that they got over there. And that was an interesting arc. The first part
It was
when
pretty
like
boring, the
they
first
kinda,
part.
yeah, they kind
Yeah.
of get there and then they see big dude. I keep forgetting some of the side characters. Juggernaut, his family, and like we got potatoes, but they keep getting eaten. And it's like, oh damn it! And then they go in the desert, and then they get high from like
The fumes.
That fumes, which
yeah.
that was kind of funny. And then they meet up with animals that could talk, and you're like, okay, cool. And they talk about like the lady in the black and how like
Can we stop on the fumes real quick? I just thought it was hilarious that they're just like out of nowhere. They're like, yeah, so because the land's been burning for quite a while, there are gonna be some fumes out here. And when I first heard that, I was just like, fumes? Like what? Like what? Why?
I
is
thought
that
it was gonna be like
matter?
poisonous.
Yeah, I
Not
thought it was
like,
gonna be
not
poisonous.
like get lit fumes.
You're right. It was like they went and they and they did some like drugs or something,
Yeah.
and they were just freaking out the entire fucking time.
The thing that stuck out to me the most was how extremely well animated Tamaki's thing was when she was like fake on the phone.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, I can't do that. I'm over in China or whatever. She started laughing to herself. I was like, wow, they spent a lot of money on that little like 15-second bit,
Right.
as they should. But yep, then they get to the forest and find the whole thing there, and then they find out all the secrets, and then they deal with the devil, and that was a good. I think that was a good confrontation between basically the whole squad and that the fire demon priest asshole.
Speaking
Forgot
of
his name too.
I mean, speaking of that arc too, right? Like, so the talking animals, I'm kind of like, I don't know how you felt about that one, but for me, I was just like, did we need the talking animals? I mean,
No.
I guess so, yeah.
I didn't care too much. Like they were there and they moved the story along. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I just thought it was a weird option, right? Of all things to help move the story along was
Yeah, I
talking
never would
animals.
have.
Never would've guessed it.
In season 1, if they were like, "Hey, next season be talking animals," I'd be like, "You're talking out of your ass. I don't know what you're talking about." But here we are, talking moles and birds and other shit.
Right, and like that, it's like that in itself was just like it's just such an odd pick in my eyes to help move the story along. But like that was probably honestly this China arc up until like that fight between that like devil. It's like the devil and or the demon and like the Shinra and the squad for damn I
makeshift
can't remember
squad.
his name.
Yeah, the guy with the skateboard
yeah,
that
the
can
guy
like Super Saiyan himself.
Yeah, like before that fight, right? It was pretty like
it's kind
it
of
was,
slow.
yeah, it was definitely like the lowest point, especially coming off of like the
beginning.
arc. Yeah, the beginning because the beginning was just so high
Yeah,
octane.
just all guns blazing.
Yeah, like sure they had that like little like filler episode about the
The
calendar,
all nude calendar.
yeah, the all nude calendar. Yeah, like sure they had that, but like
That was pretty spicy.
that was a thing.
like outside of that, right? I was kind of I was like, this is a bit boring. I hope it gets back on track. And luckily it did. It just took a while, right?
Yeah. And we're finding out more about the Adula Links and the Adula Burst and like how they're the Evangel. I still can't say that damn word. Evangelist.
The evangelist.
Evangelist, there you go. That word. So that how they like basically, they use these pillars to like fuel the
Great Fire.
Yeah, so that was cool. And also Arthur somehow just out of freaking nowhere, that damn fool getting like an idiot savant finding out that the whole thing was freaking pi, because in the tower there's like just a bunch of numbers everywhere, and just through pure shit luck, he's just like, oh, it's pi, just those numbers over there, right? That's a sequence. And besides that,
I thought the reason for it. I thought the reason for him remembering pi was hilarious too, because he was just like, well, why wouldn't I remember pi? Like it's a number for circles, and you know what circles mean? And everyone was just like, what? And he's like, the Knights of the Round Table.
Yep.
And then not even like 20 seconds later, he was like, what are the Knights of the Round Table?
Yeah, Arthur's always on something. Every time Arthur does something, I always
up.
think how you're gonna react, because I said if you were in Fire Force, that's who you'd be. Like, not to call you stupid, but like your whole like devotion to like the knights and all that sort of thing. I'd be like, yeah, this is Howard right here.
I mean, I love the Knights of the Round, but I don't know if I would have pi memorized quite that way just because of the Round Table.
I could see it. You don't have to lie to me. And then, like I said, the fight outside was cool.
The Lightspeed kick was so cool.
Yeah, she's just like, I give you like a blessing for a second. He goes, that's fine. I was like, what the hell are you gonna do in a second? And I was like, oh wait, you're so damn fast. You like digitize last season. So I was like, yeah, never mind. This makes sense.
Yeah, and that kick was just so cool. And also, I thought it was hilarious, like the contrast between like her and then like the blonde chick. Right, yeah. That he did the link with in the first
one, yeah, the psycho.
Yeah, because when he linked with her, it's like she looks so like normal. Well, until she smiles and shit.
Yeah.
And then we look at Tsunechika, you're just like, wow, she looks evil as fuck.
Yeah. And also very much like Iris.
Right.
Which is very confusing for a while. Like at first I was like, is that Iris? What the hell is this? But it was not.
Yeah. And I just thought the contrast between like the Death Lady and like the Iris looking chick was a good contrast, and the fact that like the evil lady is obviously the good one.
Yeah, the one that looks like death itself. Is just like, oh, you're a real one. But they also pulled a fast one on us. We thought Juggernaut was dead when he got blasted.
Dude, okay, I thought that was so fucking dumb. He literally got just a hole in his chest. He basically turned into an Arankar from Bleach.
Yeah, he got Raditz.
Yeah, he got Raditz.
Got hard Raditz and Goku, and then like. Everyone's like, no, and he's like, oh, it's fine. I got plenty of room in here. I was like, then where's your body? Well, how big are you? What are you? Like, are you just a head and like hands? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, because like it looks like his chest should be there,
but it's not.
There's
nothing there.
There's nothing there, and it's just. I mean, his proportions already fucking wacky as hell. But
he's like tall but fat on the bottom but skinny in the top. Like,
and his arms are like the entire length of his body.
You're like, whenever he takes that coat off, it's gonna be something,
right?
It's
gonna be a little midget controlling a robot or something.
It'd be like Kakashi's mask. Like people are like, "What's under the mask?" or like, "What's under the coat?"
Right.
Then dealing with that, and that was fine. Then coming back and then seeing the whole like history of the quote unquote church itself with the next.
Oh, that next arc was probably it has been my favorite. So actually, any arc with Shimon. Well, Captain Shimon or Benimaru has been the best. So the introduction, like from last season, the introduction of him and like when he fought the demon, everything like that, man, that was like the hypest thing, right? I mean, aside from I guess like when Sho and Shinra fought at the end, right? Like that was pretty hype, but like nothing matched like Benimaru's just crazy power. The fact that like Benimaru and Joker, a character that like we didn't get a lot of in the first season, but like he's definitely like one of the cooler looking like villain characters.
Oh, I was very much interested in like how he was going to turn out. Especially got the Stein, Dr. Stein vibes he gave me up from Soul Eater.
Right.
Because that smile and everything, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be interesting to watch. And then I saw that, at the end of the episode said, next episode preview, Dark Hero. I was like, yeah! Because, I'm an edgelord. So I was like, I'm so ready for this. So I've really enjoyed the dynamic between Benimaru and Joker. He's like, hey, want to go raid the church, his like headquarters, and see what's going on?
Yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Let's fucking rock. In that whole little couple episodes, probably the best so far this season as of now.
Yeah,
it's obviously ongoing.
And watching Benimaru just like fucking fold the entire church, and and their like little secret assassination school. By the way, Joker's backstory, holy fuck!
Yeah, that
was not
that
was
was
not
something.
expecting him to get raped as a child.
That was very disturbing.
that went from 0 to 100 really fast.
I was just like, oh, he's probably some dude that got like ripped off in life or something, like by the church or whatever. No, he was raised by secret assassins and
Child soldier.
and in the end they got molested and all that dumb stuff. It was not. It was. I feel very bad for
dumb
it was just like all the bad things.
It
I was
was-
like, oh no.
It was so fucking jarring. All of a sudden, that scene was so like creepy too, right? Like, cause he's getting whipped, and like the other dude's like already like naked, or
Yeah.
you're just like, all right, I don't understand why you're naked, but sure. And he's just whipping him. Now all of a sudden, you just see his head just pop up behind Joker, and he's like, "I'm gonna take everything from you." And
I was just like, oh, please don't.
Oh no!
I don't want this to happen. But yeah, seeing Joker's backstory, that was interesting. I feel like he's pretty justified with his edge and wanting to find out like the truth, but behind the church.
Yeah, and the fact that he fucking killed that guy, the way he killed that guy too,
Oh, it was so clean.
he was just like, yeah. So there are 52 cards in a deck. When I reach 0 cards, you're gonna die.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
other guy was just like, hoo, 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 well, I can just cut all your cards. And then he ends up dying before the 0 card. That was
Mhm.
great.
Oh yeah, that's just just think back on it. It's so good. I can't wait for the rest of the season.
Oh, I do
But
feel like
also,
we got
we got
blue balled.
We got
so
hard blue balled. I feel upset. Like I feel like
Aw.
I'm gonna once I eventually get my Twitter started, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, dogs, why'd you do this?" Because in
Right.
the opening, it very clearly shows.
You're just gonna
Benny
harass
Maru-
David Studio.
No, I'll just be like, "Why?" That's all I'm gonna say is why. Because in the intro, very clearly, Benny Maru, Joker, and what's it, Burn something?
Yeah, and Captain Burns.
Captain
from the
Burns,
first
like
edition.
all like about to duke it out, and you're like, "Holy shit!" The fight between these three would be fucking insane. But no, it was not to be.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, sadly.
Just Captain Burns shows up, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He goes, "Oh, you guys want the truth? Here you go. Church is fake. It's all fake, all of it." And he's like, "Oh, all right. What are you gonna do now?" "I don't know. You guys have fun with that. Bye." And they just leave, and everyone just kind of goes home and moves on. And I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch."
Yeah, and that it was a disappointing end to like what was a pretty fun 3 episodes probably.
Yeah, 3-4 episodes.
3 or 4 episodes.
But now it's starting to pick up again,
Yeah.
obviously with the second half of this season coming out. So still looking much forward to it. It's been one of my favorite animes in recent history. So
It's pretty close to finishing, correct? This season. I looked it up. I think there's only 2 episodes left.
what? I would think it'd be like another for like this fall season. Wouldn't you think like another 12 or so?
Because what was the last episode?
Total I don't know, but like it's been like only 12 or so episodes of this season.
It's probably about 12 episodes so far because it was about
Because they just showed the new opening, which it's not terrible like Mayday, but
Well,
it's not great either.
I'm just going off of this list. Apparently, he only lists up to episode 40.
That'd be odd. Hey, here's a brand new opening for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Because in the new opening, they show like a lot like new character. Well, not a lot, but they show like new characters that seem really interesting, including one who I'm gonna guess is called the Ashen Reaper because that was the episode title. And me being an edgelord and shit, I'm like, yes. And seeing that design in the preview, I'm hyped to see like what that's all about. All right, anything else you got about Fire Force? Because overall, for me, very satisfied and very much looking forward to what's next.
that's so far Fire Force is for me I don't really like long running series that much anymore. I don't really watch a lot of them. And right now Fire Force is kind of the only thing that I kind of keep track of and really care about. I haven't gone out of my way to read ahead in the manga. I read up to this point and then I just kind of stopped because I didn't want to spoil myself too much on what was coming in the anime. So, and right now it's been keeping it's been keeping its quality, which I've been pretty happy about. I can't say I'm too upset with anything that's happening or outside of the China arc, which was again probably the lowest point for it in my opinion, especially coming off of what happened before it and then everything that happened after it. I'm just hoping that the lackluster ending that we got for this last arc kind of doesn't carry over into future arcs. And it's not something that we'll see because I feel that kind of happened with the with like the pink haired girl Inka with her arc, right? Like I felt like that was pretty lackluster ending. To the China, the China ending was like it was all right, I guess.
That's fine.
Yeah, it was all right, especially since the light speed kick was part of it. So like I can't really complain about that. Other than that, like yeah, Fire Force is doing its job as like a long running series. It's keeping my attention. Aside from like Fire Force, right? I think the only other thing I'm keeping up with is Digimon, and even with that, like I'm probably like 4 or 5 episodes behind at this point.
Well, that it's kind of hit a slump.
Yeah, which is part of the reason why I've kind of just
I think
zoned
we
off
were,
of it.
Background productions, and we were probably going to save that for its own episode. But long story short, it's kind of feeling like it's going to like the Toei like syndrome, or at least like the DBZ syndrome, where it's like only Matt and Dai can defeat this boss of the week.
And the thing is that I guess I'm okay with that sort of, but I feel like it's just happening too fast, right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's happening too fast.
Like that, you were talking about the light speed kick. That's all of Digimon right now. It's that light speed kick.
Yeah, it is moving very, very fast, and
Fast and nonstop.
Yeah.
Because like the first half, it works so well. Because you didn't think they could pull off like going from like, oh, we're in the digital world to our war game in like 2 episodes.
War game.
yeah, and then from there, going into the digital world and them just accelerating through like Digivolutions and stuff like that. That was crazy because we thought that things were gonna ramp up. Things do sort of ramp up, but not in the way that you wanted to. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Digimon's in a
I mean, it's got 66 episodes,
yeah.
right? So
it's in a weird spot. I'm just talking about the series in general.
yeah.
It also sucks that the game got pushed back. What was it?
Oh, Survive?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really know anything about the game
We
right
just
now.
it just got confirmed that it's getting pushed back
Yeah.
to next year,
Yeah, so like
which is sad.
it
Our
is
homie's
what it
crying
is.
right now.
Yeah,
Aw.
it's like it is what it is.
But do expect that episode's coming out. We'll say it. The movie Aces.
Oh yeah, the
I'll leave it at
what?
that.
Yeah,
talk about nostalgia trip.
Oh, man,
Kizuna,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that was a good episode.
Well, you'll hear that soon.
You want to talk about bad endings? Want to talk about Food Wars?
Uh,
Just oh my god.
Well,
damn.
I think the person who probably feels the strongest about it is Base
yes.
by far.
Because okay, the first 3 episodes they went out of their way to restructure it, because the order of events is out of it's not in the same order as the manga, and then they renamed the tournament and add that whole selection process to it. The blue that doesn't happen. So when that hiatus happened, which really pissed me off, I'm like, okay, they're gonna stray away from the stupid ass noir, because they also had that the ending of season 4. They had, at the very, very end, like, oh, we also went out to the town in the end, and then this guy was doing shokugekis to steal restaurants. They just did that at the end of an episode in like a minute, whereas that was its own fleshed out little mini arc too. So that led me to believe that what happened wasn't going to happen. But then it happened.
They just went full force into it.
Like, there's certain like cool things about it. Now, after that, like what I just mentioned about the whole it being out of order, there's certain additions, like a lot of the other classmates being there that weren't originally there, like Mito and then the other top 10. Like,
yeah.
That sort of softened the blow, just like tiny tidbits in here and there, but really it just came down to Sayaba, in my opinion, ruining it. Because he's just a stupid Gaia RP character. Like,
Yeah, he is.
Like, of course Food Wars is supposed to be over the top. That's why we watch. That's why I watch it. But there was nothing compelling about Cross Knives. It's just like he's like Mimasaki, but he can just keep evolving over and over and over and over again to whatever he needs. I'm like, this is so dumb. And his ambitions were even dumber. And he wants to fuck his sister.
Well,
Granted, he didn't know.
He didn't know that. I was just like, hold on
But-
there.
Like the first like 2 challenges are pretty interesting, about like make a final dinner for an old Yakuza chef. Like that was interesting, and it also made sense why the other noir members would be so good at that. So like there were still tidbits of like the Shokugeki greatness, because like that's the thing. There's always a rhyme to the reason. There's always a method to the madness, but then they just took out the method and put in all the madness in it. It's just so dumb.
I will say the most disappointing thing for me was that he decided to keep the relationship between Soma and Erina still ambiguous. I think that's like the biggest thing.
That
And
was
damn it.
and people will argue and be like, well, we know that they get up together eventually. It's like,
no, we don't even know that.
no,
Yeah,
we
so
don't.
nothing in
I
stone.
honestly wouldn't mind if they just stayed friends forever. That would be okay with me. That's the fact that she never said it's good at the very end. Even though we all know she thought his food was good, but the fact that she just never said it. And they also kind of gypped all the anime onlys for the very end because you didn't get to see the like future designs.
Like they did the ending, but they didn't do the times like the real time skip.
Yeah, I was because I hadn't when our friend told us in the group chat. Yeah. I was assuming he was talking about that, and I watched him like they didn't even show you the good designs.
Like there was just so much. Just
they did it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like how you're upset about it. I'm like maybe 1% less because you're more passionate. But, you know, I was there in the beginning. I watched Food Force from the very top, and I told everyone, like, check this shit out. It's great. It's hype and everything. And just
one of the things
all this time.
I'm sorry, go on.
No, you're good. All this time passes, you're like, bro.
One of my favorite things is just the MC in general. Like, he was, like, his mindset is, like, the perfect mindset for, like, competition in general. But in here, he's just, like, the key to everything. Like, most characters can't even shine on their own. Like, the team fight with Aldini brothers, I'm like, oh, we got to bring Soma in for this against arguably the most annoying Noir member.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I do like that they do that the entire way, and then Soma loses anyways at the very end.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just like,
I was okay with it, except for the fact that they still never showed what he lost to.
yeah, I was
it's
just like, I
Erina
guess
wins, GG.
So,
That's it.
yeah.
And it's kind of funny because like the dish he makes to beat Saiba is so like that's probably the only time I'm like, okay, this dish is fucking ridiculous. The fried rice that was like everything. Each little grain of rice is an oma rice. So
I was just like, okay, this seems a bit much.
I'm like the one and only time like anything Soma related, I'm like, I have to pause. Really?
I just think it's ridiculous. I guess like I could see why they like made him lose because they wanted like the parallel between like the generation like the previous it's like the generation that his dad was part of the 10, right, where like his dad was like the number 2.
Well, that and like at the end of it all, like Erina was truly like number 1. But so like he could have lost.
I just feel like it was an asshole though.
Well, of
like,
course, it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I can't even accept that like fully because that was another thing too. It's just like okay, so his progression is on the way for him to be number 1, only for them to be like, and he's not. Why?
He's number 2.
And the reason is simply just because.
Well, because like she has to beat her mom, which
is literally.
You know what's
just
worse,
because.
guys, is that like for anyone who didn't read the manga, like where that part where he loses, that was the ending for a while. There was no prologue. That was just the ending.
No epilogue.
And that's why the manga readers are so fucking pissed, including myself.
Yep.
It's like, you made me go through all these stupid gimmicks, all these stupid cooking devices that not even all of them get to get used by the respective owners. Because Saiba's like, I'm going to do like a minute quick Shokugeki against all of you and then give me your dumb gear.
Yeah, it's just...
I'm trying to figure out why. Why? Like, this was clearly the sharpest decline in quality. And really, I was pretty consistently liking everything up until that point. Like, if you see, like, the mal charts, you can see people kind of already dipping at season 4. Which, I guess it depends on to you. But, like, compared to this, that thing's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did not watch season 4 because I knew what was gonna happen at the end of the manga. Well, I didn't watch it until, like, a couple weeks ago where I just marathoned it all in one go.
Yeah, and it's fine. Like, it's good.
And if we weren't going to talk about it, I probably wouldn't have watched it on my own, to be honest, because
I had to finish it, like, because I had read the manga a while ago. It's just like, ugh.
And for me, it's just like, I just couldn't see them. I had some hope when, like, we talked, like Base mentioned earlier, right? When he mentioned that how things changed quite a bit within those first couple episodes. You know, I had some hope.
Yeah,
but then as things slowly,
especially when they called it the blue and had a whole new like anime only scene, it's like something's got to change.
Yeah, right. And then as things slowly shifted back to what it was like in the manga, and the thing is that it wasn't all bad, right? Like it wasn't like it was entirely just like, oh man.
It wasn't
shit.
all like misses, but the problem is like when
that
there's
the ending
something
is just
when
such a
something good
huge
happened,
miss.
immediately something stupid happened.
Yeah. And the ending was just such a huge miss that like I just felt like, man, the journey up to this point doesn't even matter to me anymore.
They struck it out the worst times.
Yeah.
I
the
won't
part
say
of the
like I dislike any of the main cast, even despite all that. I just really don't like the direction that it took. Like I still like Soma as a character.
Yeah, someone's still a great character.
Yeah.
It's just the roadblocks that they put in his way in this season were dumb.
Everything after the first 2 challenges, just throw it all out.
Yeah.
A chainsaw? Come on.
A chainsaw, come on.
Come the fuck on.
With little bits of seasoning on it.
Yeah.
It got a little too ridiculous for its own good.
Really, like honestly, if I could only change one thing to like lessen the blow, it'd be taking out Saiba. He was by and large the worst part about it.
I mean, the hard part though is that like if you take him out, then it's like
just
the season can't even really exist.
you could just still have Noir or just make the blue something else. It's just Saiba. My point is like Saiba brought it. He was down so much. He was a huge reason why that season sucked or that part of the story sucked.
I mean, I like I said, I don't disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's hard for me to like see how they could have. Like, they would have had to put another character in his spot, right? Like, they would have had to create, like, some type of villain, because at that point, otherwise, they're just cooking against the same people that they've been cooking against the last couple seasons.
Or just make her mom more of a, like, present villain, rather than just being like, I put this together.
Yeah,
in
the background.
I'm going to be sick.
I
like,
do it.
Yeah, that would have been better for me. And then her...
I mean...
Even she was kind of dumb.
I mean, if you think about it, her mom was just played the same role as her dad did.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a rehash. Like, that's another reason why, like, Season 4 took such a dip in quality, right? It was basically just a rehash of the previous season, pretty much.
But at least his defeat was, like, really satisfying.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's like that this is a rehash of the previous season, but in a much worse way.
What if we did the same thing but worse?
Worse, yeah. And on top of that too, this entire time until the blue, right? We don't even know anything about her mom.
Also, this season had the worst opening.
Yes,
the worst opening.
It's the same people that did the first one, right? The very first one. It's the same band.
No,
it sounds just like.
Well, they
them.
did another one, but it wasn't the very first.
Okay, because I was like,
it was that really annoying that.
As soon as you heard the first opening, I was like, son of a bitch, they brought him back? No.
Stop.
But a big thing for me is going into it, you have certain things you want to see done and concluded to feel like a very satisfying ending, which, as we said earlier, Ariana never said his food was good, even though we all knew that she thought the food was good.
They don't end up
and
together.
Then they never, actually, like, connect. Like, obviously, she says in, like, the epilogue and shit, like, oh, yeah, I can't live without you and your food and shit. But someone don't fucking care. He's just like, yeah.
You also have to remember, right? Like, that's the main thing I feel like the author just forgot. It's like, you have to remember, like, how you created Soma. Soma's the type of character where unless you just straight up tell him something, he's just not going to give a fuck unless it's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, them not ending up together didn't bug me the most.
Well, it bugged me because of how much they set it up.
Even in the opening, they set
it would
up.
have been nice.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that they spent 4 seasons setting it up, I wouldn't be so upset about it.
Even Soma's dad's like, find someone you want to cook for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
And that is such like a prominent thing for Soma. All 4 seasons is that, you know what? Maybe my dad's right. Maybe if I find someone I want to cook for, my cooking will go up to the next level, and like, it doesn't happen.
I want to cook for the world instead, lol.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen. And like at that point, it's just like you had such a perfect setup, and you didn't do anything with it. Like, it's just so disappointing that they ended it off that way without like any resolution there. On top of that, too, like someone just kind of goes off to walk the earth.
Yeah.
Like
that's fine. Like it definitely opens up possibilities of like spin-offs, whether it be more OVAs or like another manga, because we don't see their 3rd year at all.
Yeah, they just kind of like, oh, it's over.
You know what I mean? Or even if there's like we see his adventures across the world, or like the other students what they do. So like, I still like the series. It's just, what a terrible ending.
We don't talk about how her granddad basically Eisened everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
That to me dropped. It's like, so originally I would have rated the series like an 8.5, right? that should dropped it down to like a 7 for me, maybe even 6.5.
Well, that's surprising because
Yeah.
I would still say like a 7 because like the first 4 like major parts I really liked, both as the manga and the anime. I just it could have been so much more.
Yeah, I would say like at its worst points, I probably even rate it like
At
just
least
to be fair,
yeah.
or it's like on Food Wars is like the problem is that the rest of the series is like a solid 8, right?
Yeah.
Like
Like,
but
there's-
like in season 4, like a lot of points are just like, oh man, this is like a level. It's like a 4 out of 10 episode.
I
On
never felt that
occasion.
way.
Yeah.
Like, no, I never felt
For
that.
season 4?
Yeah,
Yeah,
season
for
4.
Yeah.
I never felt like that.
It's
like,
not the most.
I never
prominent,
I
actually.
never like really enjoyed, the Council of 10, or like I wasn't always like, oh my god, they're so sick. But I wouldn't say it that low. At least for me.
Like for me, it was just
like,
it was just
Because a
just
lot
so
of the
boring.
concepts that were introduced with their shokugekis, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And at the one thing season 5 did right, funny enough, coming off season 4 is I like Tsukasa a bit more as a character. White haired dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
white knight of
the
cooking
original,
winter.
the original
Number one seed.
Number one seed, yeah.
Yeah,
He
Oops,
was-
I mixed up season 4 and season 5. I mean, season 5 like just brought down the series.
Yeah,
I was like,
just
season 4 was cool.
Yeah,
I was
season
like,
4, season.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
my bad. Guys.
It's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
well,
I had a
season-
feeling.
Yeah, a lot of episodes in season 5 just were like.
Oh no, there were some just straight up
shitters,
duds.
yeah. So like
Straight up
overall,
duds.
yeah, overall the series was like an 8 up until season 5, and so like I have to drop it down to like a 6, especially the ending, because like I'm a type of guy who is like, man, if the ending does not tie everything together in a nice package, it just kills the rest of the series for me.
Most of the time, I felt like I'm like that. At this point, if anyone was trying to get into it, I'd be like, watch everything but the last arc.
Oh.
That's a way more conclusive. It's like, and they became the top 10 and lived
They
happily
did
ever
it.
after.
They got to the next
Yeah,
year.
the cover. We're YouTubers.
We're YouTubers now. It kind of little backstory. We got spoiled, kind of, because the last season finished. No, it didn't finish, and then like we went to anime jungle, and like I was looking at the manga, and right there, right on the cover, Megumi goes,
second year.
"We're second years now." I was like, "Well, son of a bitch, the whole season's spoiled now." And I told Base here, I was like, "Hey, check this out," and he's like, "Oh," but like he said, he saw a meme where basically it's like we're YouTubers now, like Sonic
Some
characters or whatever.
B-boy, you remember that picture of like the Sonic characters as YouTubers? It looked like that,
Yeah.
but with Food Wars characters.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, season
Yeah.
5 had. I mean,
lot of
obviously the
stinkers.
lowest lows. I'm trying to think of like if there was what was the highest point for me in that season. The thing is, I didn't really care about most of his dishes. Like the like rice cracker like meat treat was okay. Like who he made for the Yakuza chef.
Yeah.
His like super fancy bento box from the kombini was all right. I feel like the poor man's version of his shokugeki with Alice.
Oh yeah.
Because when he made the other
Mm-hmm.
box lunch, like
Yeah.
that was way cooler. I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
is
I don't-
very
As strong as the character Soma is to me, it's like I didn't like any of his dishes,
Right.
and he brought up the most fucking ridiculous, outlandish.
I think we should just like give it our ratings and then move on, right?
As
So-
a season, it's like a 2.
Yeah,
it's bad.
as a
it's
season. Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
fucking
it's
low.
pretty bad.
As a series, I'm kind of torn because it probably means a lot to me. It's like shit. Damn. If season 5 didn't exist, I'd probably get like an 8.5 or a 9, but it does, so probably like a 7.
I'd give it about a 7 because everything else I still, is really endearing and really fun to watch. Also, I could be wrong because I haven't seen all the OVAs, but they didn't even animate the best chapter where Arena cooks for all the Shonen Jump girls.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a nice
Dang,
little
man.
And
OVA.
seeing the author's rendition of all the girls, aces.
Well, there was they did a freaking. Oh, that was a mon. They did another like little chapter where like Sanji had a shokugeki from One Piece.
Yeah, I don't think they
yeah.
animated that.
No,
I
I
don't
just
think
remembered
so.
it.
Yeah.
I know there's like some sort of like Arena Gaiden. There's like 2 more after that, but I haven't seen them. I'll
That'd be cool. That'd be
I'll
something
watch
little
them at
something
some
to
point,
watch.
but they like take place between like where this the Star Dormitory is like revolting against her dad.
Yeah.
It's around that time frame.
But yeah, and so I guess my rating for it would be like a 6.5
Mm-hmm.
because that like endings mean a lot to me, man. And this had a really poor ending in my eyes because it didn't resolve anything.
Yep. Just
Yeah,
a
like-
lot of loose
And
ends.
it
Yeah.
wasted the other 2 characters.
Yeah, it was just a huge waste.
Maybe not Megumin so much, but
Yeah.
she was only gonna get so far, and then she had to fight the Gaia, our role player, which was the sentence for death. Yep. Well, it is what it is. We'll eventually get to the OVAs, and who knows? There's gonna be like a Cooking Mama game. You'd play it. I'd play it. Speaking of Cooking Mama, how about that Rent-A-Girlfriend? This is totally naturally occurring conversation.
What the fuck?
Well,
No, but since we're on track of being angry, what did you think of Rent-A-Girlfriend? As I'm staring at Hyoran.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I watched an episode with you guys. And
I guess
was
for a
like,
reference, where we last left off was when he met Ruka, and then like she was like, "Date me."
yeah, that was like episode 5.
And looking back on it, like that, it's funny because that like little segment of like her past of like why she wants to be with Kazuya so much is like the best storytelling
It's the best part of the show.
But looking back, and I'm like, that should have been an episode. I'm angry again.
Yeah.
I still think it was a good segment. It's just one thing Rent-A-Girlfriend is absolutely guilty of is just like wasting our time. And
Oh
most
my
of it is just
God.
Kazuya being a fucking cuck of just being where he's not supposed to be, making things worse for him. So like from there on, when they're dating, it's just like, dude, you have exactly what you want.
You know what was one of the most infuriating things for me when it came to... Okay, so just preface this. I fucking hate Rent-A-Girlfriend, by the way. Like, I know a lot of people love this show. And I know a lot of people are, like, super excited that second season's coming out.
I'll have to post the article, but like when they were looking for the demographics, most were like heavy Reddit users who had never been in a relationship. They're like, I really relate with Kazuya. I'm like, no, don't do that. Bad.
Like of any character, of any like harem type character in like a slice of life comedy that you should relate to, he should not be the character that you want to relate to.
Yeah,
Like,
and
he is not a person. It's like what he is doing
it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of
What you should do.
Yeah, what you should be doing. And like he as a character is just he's such an infuriating lead like to follow because there's no growth in him. Like throughout his entire
there's no growth. But the weird thing about this, the writing is that like he has these little weird like genuine moments of like being a decent person. Like when he sets up the date for his homie because he took Ruka from him.
Yeah.
Like that was genuinely nice. I'm like, there's some light within the darkness, but then you just keep ruining it.
Yeah, because in literally the next episode, he blows off Ruka the entire episode. He just
from from there, I'm trying to think because there was one more thing that happened before he did that.
Oh, before he blew her off.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Next time I'm just gonna write down like episode like points of like what happened because there's a lot that happens, but a lot of that is just time being wasted.
Yeah, and man, I just hate him so much. Like one of the main things for series is like I just have so much dislike for Kazuya because he has his moments, right? Like Base said, he has his moments. I have to give like the writers or the mangaka that much. Is that
like he does selfless things like saving Mizuharu's life in the beach episode and
and as well as like later on when he acts as like a practice date for
what did you think of her and her inclusion? Because that's the part that annoys me is that she's in the OP and the ED but doesn't come until
episode 10.
The third to last episode, second to last episode
10, and then she's only prominent for like
just like those
for like half of episode
the episode
10.
and a half.
Yeah, like an episode and a
Is she
half.
the short one you're talking about?
The shy one.
She's the pink hair girl.
Didn't I say in the last episode is she the one that has like no chance in hell?
No, the one you're thinking about is Ruka, like the short hair, the short really stacked girl, right? That's
with
what
the
you're
like
thinking of? Like the blue hair. And
No,
blue-
no.
bow
I
tie.
meant the shy one.
The shy one with like
Yeah,
the
that's
pink
what I meant.
hair.
Sumi?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because at the point that you guys were talking about, there was the main one. I don't know any of their names. There's the main one, and then the one with the bow,
Chizuru,
and then you
Ruka.
have the bitch. Well,
Yeah. Fuck. She's
Mommy?
Yeah, mommy.
The
Yeah.
so
worst
I
girl
knew those
was
three.
the worst person.
And then you guys already talked about that. So I was like, okay, this fourth one, whoever, is probably the one character in like every harem has where it's like you have zero chance. Like you're there to kind of fill out, make it round out, and then like that's it.
dude, no one in this harem has a chance aside from Mizuhara, and
Yeah.
that's like,
And the thing is, she's making it so clear that like this is only professional, and I feel bad because like our grandmas are involved. The most infuriating thing is seeing people online like making out to be her fault, like, oh, she's just leading him on. I'm like, homie doesn't know what no means. That's the problem. This show shows you like the potential dangers of not saying no and not knowing how to take a rejection, because there's just no consequences for him for the most part.
and the thing that I hate the most too is that for him, right, is that like, for this is the only thing I hate about Mizuhara. She's like my favorite waifu of probably like this season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like my favorite female character. Well, I know. I guess I would have to say Lisa from Great Pretender. Actually, I like her way more than Mizuhara, but Mizuhara, like the main reason like I watch this show, right? Like I hate that she has to feel so secretive about like the whole rent girlfriend thing, and I do get it. Because, that's not something you really want to broadcast.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not something that you really... And Kazuya being the type of person he is, right? I doubt that he could keep his mouth shut for very long.
Funny you mention, I think that's like one of the only few things he does right. And that kind of plays towards the very end, like the climax of the season. We'll get into that in a second, because...
That pissed me off, too.
That's a whole bag of worms. But, what were you saying before?
Yeah. So that's the one thing I don't like about her either, is that she, as much as she wants him to clarify things, she should already know that he's not going to, but she just kind of lets it keep going. So like I can see like
Sort
where
of.
yeah,
I mean, she said it so many times,
yeah.
like, this is, we're not actual.
yeah, like we're not actually a thing, right? It's like I just wish that like she would get fed up enough that she just, at least to their grandmothers, right? Where she would just decide to not care anymore in that aspect at the very least.
If he didn't come from like a decently like well-off family, because they like own an alcohol store, he
yeah.
wouldn't have had the money, because it was like $50 an hour.
Yeah, something crazy.
Just starting
like
out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, but he just blew his money and needed the job at the karaoke place, which is like, and then Ruka works there because she's latching on to him.
Speaking of Ruka, okay. So, man, that boy did her fucking dirty the first time she met his grandmother.
Is that the ribbon one?
Yeah, the ribbon.
Oh,
Yeah.
we watched that episode. Seeing
Yeah.
you angry live and in person was fucking funny.
Okay, on one hand, right, Ruka showing up without letting them know was that was really stupid. I'll give
Yeah,
I'll give that to them at least. The fact that she attempted.
I was
to,
about it only because obviously he was lying, and she's like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. I should meet your family.
Yeah.
But of course, him being the retard he is and just furthering the lie and digging this hole deeper and deeper, he's like,
fact that
I gotta take her with me. And then Ruka's like,
Yeah.
So at the very least, I can appreciate she was like one of the only few people in the show that actually have balls.
Yeah, the only, it's like, and like I said, right, like, I'm just playing like devil's advocate here, right? Like I do think that it was stupid of her to show up without any prompting, but it was stupid that she had to show up without any prompting. To prove that like she was his girlfriend, only for him to be like, oh yeah, she's a. It's like
Habitual liar?
Yeah, she's a habitual liar.
I was
and
like,
she can't
how?
stop. Yeah, it's like yeah, and she lies all the time. So
Yeah,
there's
he's
no
just
stopping
describing
her.
himself.
Yeah, he lies all the time. We're just here to like make her hang out with her and shit. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I saw just that. And I was like, man, this guy is a fucking asshole. Holy shit.
Yeah, and he says it with like no remorse whatsoever. He didn't feel bad at all, and no one could tell me that he felt bad about that.
Like, I guess if you really want to be critical about it, like Ruka and her like desires for him, the premise of her wanting to be with Kazuya so much because like she can get excited without like having the heart palpitations,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like that's kind of silly, but that's the kind of girl she is because obviously she's really young, really impressionable. So of course no one in this show really has an idea of like what a healthy relationship is. Say maybe for Mizuhara because she knows it's professional.
Yeah, and even then, right?
So like of course back to Ruka, she's not gonna know what exactly a real relationship is supposed to be like. But it's ultimately Kazuya's fault because he's just not giving her a fair shot. And it's like she has everything you want. And at one point they go to a love hotel. I'm like, bro, she's DTF.
Oh, dude, that scene was
And
pretty
of
interesting to
course-
watch. I was over here making like a little plastic model kit, And that scene happened. I was like, okay, you got my attention. I turned around. I was like, oh yeah, we're getting
No, he's
somewhere.
just
And
being
then
an
it
idiot.
just then he fucked it up. I was
It's
like,
like,
oh.
I think I want Mizuhara because she's with me all the time and pays attention. Because you pay her to do that.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not you're against the idea of, like, prostitution, because at the end of the day, it's just, like, prostitution light. Like, it's, for us well-adjusted people, the fine print is right there. Like, you know exactly what you're getting into. And Mizuhara being the best at her job, like, she's so succinct and clear about that. But Kazuya being...
A fucking dumbass.
Yeah, the
to
fucking
max.
cucklord he is. He's just like, la, 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 la. This is real. This is real. That's
my
ultimately
God.
what it falls upon.
Well, quick question for me who didn't watch it.
Go.
Would you guys watch season 2? I feel like
Well,
you have to for this.
We're going to have to.
But are you gonna? Dude, I can't.
Whether I keep it or not. Okay, here's the one thing, and here's the most dastardly thing about this show that, like, has us on a hook, on a fucking fish hook, is that the girls are so fucking
I was
hot.
like, yeah, they're very well done.
That's the biggest appeal of this show, because other than that, like, it's just the guys who feel connected to Kazuya a little too hard, who reflect themselves into him a little too hard.
Dude, Dad.
Outside of that, there's only two reasons.
I feel bad for the listeners because seeing Howard right now, this is the fucking best part. He's just squirming with hatred.
We'll eventually buy a camera at some point. Details coming soon.
Maybe, but dude, Dad.
But
it's
you know
so
what I
fucking
mean, right?
funny.
Like, obviously, like, Mizuhara is up there for Girl of the Year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, spoiler, Noelle Nihashi is my Lord and Savior. I'd kill everyone in this room on a moment's notice
we'll
for her.
get to that.
No
later.
hesitation.
we'll get
But
to that.
second
I'll buy
place,
body armor.
no doubt, it's Taito Teen Ruka and Mizuhara.
Again, like, I just like...
Like,
I
if
like the girls from
like-
Great Pretenders a lot.
oh,
So,
of
yeah.
course, but I'm just saying, like, if you had the chance to get, like, a Mizuhara plate mat, play sleeves, binder,
Yeah, I mean, I would do it. Yeah,
fucking
for sure.
hat. You know what I mean?
Oh, sweet ass hat.
Fucking baseball cap, like you would. I would.
Yeah.
I just
fuck.
God damn.
He wears the stupid baseball pants with no, like, baseball jersey. So I'm like, what?
Oh, that's fucking funny.
I just never thought I could feel so much dislike.
Yeah.
And I guess dislike is a light word for how I feel about him.
I say like fury.
For like our
Yeah.
end of the year, like award show, he's obviously winning worst boy.
For
Unless
sure.
something drastic happens, and it better happen
No,
quick.
we got
he
like
is
2.5.
worst boy.
We got too
Yeah,
much.
like 2
Too
months.
much or so for someone to fuck
Yeah.
up.
And man, so this show like ruins my day pretty much every
It
time
does,
I watch it.
but it also like there's certain highlights. I'm like, Mizuhara on the screen for me. Fuck Kazuya. No, but I get what you mean. It's just like.
and I know a lot of people are going to be mad.
It
too
is
for
our
me saying this,
responsibility
yeah.
to like reiterate to like any of the lonely guys out there, because it's a thing. We're all lonely at some point. Like, please take this story as like what not to do
As
and
a
take it to
cautionary
heart.
tale of what not
Don't,
to do and
don't,
what not to
don't.
be like.
Because obviously this is like wish fulfillment to the highest degree, but it's like instead of being like the self-insert character, it's like, what if the self-insert was a lonely cuck boy?
It's just,
What if he was inept and just an incel? But you know what's sad too is that like his reason for being so depraved and like lonely and kind of lost, it's very like agreeable. Like I can totally get why he's so upset, because like what mommy does to him, how she breaks up with him.
right?
Like from that point, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. I feel bad for him, only to see him step on it. So like,
I mean, the biggest problem, right, with that too was I understand. Like I've been at that point where
Yeah.
you really liked your ex,
mm-hmm.
you know, and like they were basically your whole world, and then they break up with you in like a really shitty fashion, right?
Yeah.
Like I understand that,
Mm-hmm.
and I get it,
Yeah.
but the problem,
But you
The
didn't turn to
biggest-
Kazuya.
yeah, but the biggest problem with Kazuya is that they were together for a month.
And it's his first girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, regardless of like the length, your first is always like the hardest.
For hers,
So it's like they really captured that kind of moment, you know, in a man's life so well. So just seeing that promise get just shattered that's really the root of all evil in this show. Is saying that like, man, this could have been like a really interesting tale about a guy who like finds love via this rent-a-girlfriend, because like the premise isn't bad, not at all.
the premise isn't bad.
It's just like, what if we took a good premise and then fucked it?
Yeah, what if we took a good premise and then we put a really bad character and made him the main focus of the series. Like I cannot.
I just have to tell myself before going to bed, like, it's only popular because of the girls. It's only popular because of the girls.
Like,
it's only getting season 2.
The Dojins will be good.
I can't wait to get a Ruka baseball cap.
I hate. You know what? I can't even say dislike Kazuya. I hate Kazuya.
You know who I hate more?
Fury.
And we got to talk about the ending. I fucking hate Mommy. She's legitimately a bad person. Whereas Kazuya is kind of just misguided and he has the worst judgment. She's legitimately a bad person. Like, just irredeemable.
For sure.
And what's even more annoying about the last part is like
there are no consequences.
There's no consequences. There was no drama to begin with. Like there was really, it was such a non-issue of her finding out that Mizuhara was a rent-a-girlfriend and like holds her hostage in that date she buys with her.
And
I'm like, what is the problem? Where's the issue?
She's like, I'm gonna tell everyone, and then
she's like, she was already so close. Like, I can understand from Kazuya's viewpoint, like, oh no, I might have just fucked up her potential career, you know, because she was working hard to become an actress. Finally gets a gig, a big one at that. So it's like, I could see why he would think that, but to us viewers, it's like, just walk away.
Right?
You're like, okay, tell people that. And Mizuhara's the kind of girl that would do that, and she kind of sort of does. I wouldn't necessarily blame it on the character herself, but just like
it's just bad
the
writing.
It's
and the fact that mommy just decides, I guess I'll drop it.
Yeah,
just
like what was your angle? You just wanted to watch him squirm, or is that what you wanted?
And that's basically her entire character.
You wanted the power trip, being like, oh, you weren't actually a real girlfriend. Oh, I guess it was more so self-validation because like to her it was such a big deal that he was able to move on within a month. But you did that. And he didn't move on. And you should have known that from him having to not just rent a girlfriend, rent an emotional connection. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
So you would think that, like, sure, you got your little victory, but what more did you want from that? And so you would think, like, seeing Mizuhara get the better of a genuinely bad person would be satisfying, but it wasn't.
No,
because it was such a... I'm like, there's no issue here.
Oh. And the plot ends in one episode. It only lasts an episode. I think that was the biggest issue, right? Was that it did not last very long. It was so
and they kept having these back and forths, like the last few episodes leading up to it, like, okay, just this one time. Okay, just this one time you'll keep dating. Okay. And it's like you think Kazuya's gonna like grow up when she's like, all right, I'm gonna have to quit being a rent-a-girlfriend because I gotta actually dedicate, you know, myself to this career that I've been working on. And then he's just like, I actually love you. And we get like the very slight inclination of Mizuhara being like kind of torn about that, but it's just like, no, don't fall for him. Or if you are, if you are, it better be believable. I
mean, right now it's
no, as of this very moment, no,
it's definitely not.
We're seeing a ship about to sink right now. We're watching the Titanic from on another iceberg. No, turn, no.
And it's not the ship that I would like to sink. It's not. I would hope that Kazuya would go on to live a lonely life and die an old man with no connection to anyone. But you know, it's probably not going to happen. I'm gonna.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't have to. He has Ruka.
Exactly. Yeah.
He has her in the palm of his hands.
I know, and the thing is that I wish that he would, but
like, even if they wouldn't like, you know, grow old together, like he could have gained so much experience and like at least there's at least way more room and believability material to work with that he could form a genuine relationship with her.
Yeah,
because she's so willing. She's so willing, and all he has to do is just like.
But he's just such an
everything
asshole.
I want from Mizuhara, I could get from her. But you're not Mizuhara. Oh, we get it. She's still like contender for best girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I guess we got to cover all the girls. Sumi was. I didn't dislike her. One of my biggest pet peeves in anime is mumbling. Ooh, I hate the sound of it.
And you have no reason to give a fuck about her because she's only around for.
She was there for like the shy, you know, kind of flat-chested girl lovers.
Yeah, and she was only there
she's
for
very
an
cute.
episode and a half. And for that episode and a half, like halfway through those episodes, Mizuhara was still. It's like became a big thing with the whole mommy thing, and that was like. Okay, and then she just disappears and never shows
It's
up
like,
ever
why
again.
was she on the OP and the ED if she was there for like 2.5 episodes?
They do that thing where most rom-com harems do, where they show like a bunch of girls and then they introduce one in like the last 2 episodes, and you're just like, well, I don't give a fuck about you.
I can't wait for the show that does that, and that girl's the winner.
That would be
that'd
hilarious.
that'd be something to write home about.
That would be something that I would unconditionally love just for irony.
Yeah, because I can't think of another show that has done that.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
Which is, who knows? Maybe this will be what the show's known for.
Holy shit!
Girl number 5 wins. Oh, okay.
I mean, at this point, like I hope no one wins.
Or at the very least, Ruka should win by default.
Yeah, 'cause she's the only one who legitimately wants to try to develop a relationship with him, and he's just like, no.
Anything else? Any
And on
final
top
thoughts?
of that, like the show's soundtrack is like nails on a
Oh,
chalkboard.
you're like, just listen to this OST, and it's like shitty bit tunes.
Yeah,
Basically.
Yeah, it's
my
just
God.
chip
it's
tune
so odd. I'm like, we don't get an inclination of that he's like some like major gamer nerd or whatever. Like the music is just like
so
the
random.
producer was just like, all right, you're hired. All right, sweet. How long we got? You've got a whole week, bro. Just get in the studio, just churn it out. Oh fuck.
He's like, I got a busted Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
I can just hook up to a speaker.
Good. Put it in. Go.
Start pushing buttons.
Because the sound of the show is is the weakest aspect. Visually, I thought it was fine because it's like the manga panels with like the little insert characters and whatnot.
Yeah, like visually,
Visually, it's fun.
yeah, that's fun. But
And like obviously, all the girls look super cute.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to be.
I will say this show is the definition of visuals can't do everything for you.
They can only do so
Yeah.
much. But the problem is, it did enough. It did more than enough
I hate
to
that this is so
warrant.
popular.
I know.
Like
And-
at least
And
like
you know deep down that's the only reason why you're watching. I know it's the only reason why I'm watching. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean that is exactly
Yeah.
the reason why I'm watching it.
I'm
because
trying to
it's
get
popular.
Mizuhara pencils and shit.
And hats and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the thing is, at least with something like Nisekoi or Bokuben,
Mhm.
you know, with those harem animes, at least the main character, like even if development was like slow as fuck, and most people tended to, you know, it's like people had their like favorite girls and whatnot. At least the main character didn't feel like he didn't want to make me like want to punch him in the face every like 5 seconds, you know, like Kazuya is just he just makes the show unwatchable for me, and I still have to watch it.
I will say, as an anime only of this show, I could see him redeeming himself. Like it's definitely not too late. This is the Dark Souls of rom-coms.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
I'm kidding. I know people hate that comparison, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like he put it on Dante Must Die mode for himself, so it can be done. But
No, man, I
We'll
feel like
see.
he put it on easy because he's picking all the wrong options, and all
No.
the girls are still
no, I
giving
meant
him a
like
chance.
he rather. I shouldn't say Kazuya. I said the writer. I should
Yeah.
have said the writer put it on Dante Must Die mode for making him go from where he is now to like someone we could root for, or at least be decent. Because he's like F- to me right now. So like to see him at the end to go like a C, that'd be something. That'd be a work of art in terms of writing.
Yeah, at this point, I'd rather him just not speak.
He's gonna have to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it sounds bad. I hope they pay the poor composer more money and give him more time. Something, because that was, other than Kazuya, that was the worst part about this show, was just random tunes that just cycle through.
Yeah, and
There's like nothing cohesive about it.
And-
Then there's like DDR music out of nowhere when it's tense. Like, what the fuck is this?
the music breaks immersion quite a bit.
I don't love you. Let's DDR.
What the fuck is that?
Any other final thoughts?
Yeah,
on Ready Girlfriend?
so this first season, I mean, if I were to give it a rating,
Are you gonna give it like 0?
Yeah.
I would give it. I mean, I guess
You give it negative
-2.
2?
Right? I'd probably give it like a 2,
Yeah, I'd give it somewhere like
and 2 because the visuals are.
I'd
nice.
give it like a strong 2 to a light 3, because again, like the girls are so hot. But if I were to recommend it, I'd be like, there's better things out there, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Especially if you can see yourself relating to this kind of situation, don't. It's only going to be so bad for your mental health. Like, not even kidding.
I will say this, especially if you relate very well to Kazuya.
Get some help.
Please do not watch this because it will just make you
There's
feel like it's okay.
plenty
to be this
of
way.
wholesome, just way better written
harems out
harems
there.
or just romance in general.
Oh.
There's just so many other feel-good shows.
That's like this one is not one of them.
No.
Nope.
But yeah, I'll see you in season 2.
Oh.
I guess I'll see you guys in
Which
season
won't
2.
come out, at least the earliest would be like, I don't know,
I imagine
March,
it's probably,
April.
Yeah, probably come out in summer of next year. I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been announced for 2021, right?
Yeah. So it's happening. I don't know if I'm gonna read the manga. I kind of want my mad to be like fresh, organically
Fresh
grass-fed.
anger.
If I read the manga, I won't want to watch the show. So
Yep. Well, something else for summer. I didn't finish it because I read the manga. Pretty much was Uzaki-chan.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, that's a feel good show, I guess.
Yeah.
If
well,
you're not
if-
angry about
yeah, I
it,
was
if you
saying
don't
you either
hate,
live or die.
if you don't
by
like
Uzaki.
big-breasted girls, if they make you mad, don't watch the show.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it's fine.
Yeah, it does the job.
I like
It's-
her mom a lot.
Oh,
That's
and
why my
she just
favorite.
got. Well, I'm catching up because like I was watching last night, and there was a anime original episode where they go to Totori,
Mhm.
where they went to the Detective Conan airport and where they make Nendroids and shit, and that was fine. And then I kept watching, and I was like, okay, the rest is just the manga, and I already read the manga, and it's like 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, fuck it. Like I get it. I'll just talk about it tomorrow. Like it's fine. It does a job. Yeah, the show lives and dies by Uzaki, whether if you like her or hate her or not.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, B-boy, put up that picture I sent.
please don't. Do not.
Definitely
No.
make it viewer appropriate. But go on.
So it'll be 90% unviewable. Just don't waste your time.
No,
Anyway,
please do.
please don't.
Go on.
Oh my god. But it's just, it's fine. She did the job. The voice actress is exactly how I sound it to be. Their shenanigans are exactly what happens in the manga. I think the best place for them to end it, and obviously I'm like 2 episodes behind, is like the festival they have at school. Like that's like the real catalyst of like their relationship, because now it's kind of like that just little teasing bullshit where it's like they have little moments of like maybe
Will they or won't they?
Yeah, but you know that it's kind of like it's kind of passing. But the festival they have where they get like their fortunes read or whatever, that puts the idea in their head like, oh yeah, maybe. And I feel like from there it gets more interesting, and then you can freaking you go and see like her family, all of Uzaki's family, and that really kicks off from there. So as of now, it was fine. It's solid. Like I said, didn't finish it, but if it finishes where I think it's gonna end, it's fine. It's just I feel like it gets better later on in the manga, like more of those antics, more of like the real romance like happens.
Did her sister get introduced yet?
In the anime?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
she
that-
gets introduced way
that's
later.
far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
way,
that's way
later.
later. So
That'll be nice. I can't wait to see Twitter freak about that too.
Oh my god, yeah.
Though I think they're kind of already over it. Or at
Yeah,
least
for now, yeah. And
Yeah.
then if his show gets another season, then
we'll get
they
another
won't.
picture like, I fixed her. You're welcome.
Like her mom's been introduced, and no one gave a shit about that.
I thought they were gonna flip out for sure, but I didn't see anything. I think people are just like
Nope.
over it.
Yeah, they just understood that some people have
I'll,
good genetics.
I'll definitely
I
get
don't know.
around to watching it because it's obviously my aesthetic. It's a fun time. Because like the whole appeal is just like, oh, she's cute, but she's kind of annoying.
Yeah, and then
But you can appreciate that because I'd rather watch that than like, what's the other one with the dark skin girl, the Nagatoro, like Don't Bully Me.
oh, please don't bully me.
No,
Naruto.
she pisses me off. So if I want to watch something like that, I would just watch
May I ask what the
Usaki.
difference is? Besides the fact that obviously one is a short stacked person, one's a short flat person.
The other one's just like mega annoying, just straight up like mean spirited. But some people are like, oh, punish me more, and I'm not that person. So obviously, other than the physical differences, it's just like, no, I'm too like involved in that. I'm like, I'm gonna punch you in your dumb face.
Isn't that getting an anime too? They talk about that.
I think so. If
Yeah,
it's
I
not
believe
already.
That's the
yeah.
holy trifecta.
And then like the middle is like, who's the forehead girl?
I'm about to say yeah, that's like the Trinity. I forgot her name. Is it with the U?
No, it's
I should know.
no, it was
Something.
Yep.
I'm just gonna type in forehead anime girl.
Okay, so
Cool.
you'll get
See what we
it.
get.
But I remember I saw like some like fan art someone did of
Yeah,
like those
it's-
three together and like
yeah.
their smirky faces. Because it's
It's-
literally like
Takagi-san.
So,
there
yeah,
you
yeah.
go.
I didn't even
finisher.
go, but I'm gonna type in for it. Hey, it even brought her up when I typed it in.
Yeah, because that's exactly how you would describe her.
Here,
But yeah.
I'm gonna also screenshot that and share it with the nice viewers.
Well, while you're doing that, for me, I'm not gonna finish this. I'm not gonna watch the second season of it. I pretty much dropped the manga already.
Yeah.
I just don't like Uzaki. I mean, I don't know what possessed me to read it in the first place. Maybe the design. Yeah,
I was
the
just
design.
like,
Yeah,
the cover?
design.
Put in
Yeah,
the picture
probably
again.
design.
We know. Just put
Yeah.
Hirohan's face over the parts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I liked her design, and then it got to the point where I was just like, this is boring now. It's boring.
Yeah, you
Nothing's
have to be in the mood. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those like mangas and like your bookmarks, or at least my bookmarks,
Yeah, it's
where it's just like, I feel like reading something like that. You'll read a chapter or two, and that's it.
I'm all caught up, so that fucking chapters come out so far in between that when the new chapter is up, you're like, yeah, I can go for that, and then you read it in like 30 seconds. You're like, all right, time to wait another month and a half.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine. It's solid.
As an adaptation, what would you rate it?
Adaptation, I feel like they did really well.
I think it's like a 6. A 6 is like passing a little above for me, at least. Like, it's decent.
Yeah, decent. Did the job done. For me, a 6. I'm saying out of 10, a 6 is like a D. How I see it, like in terms of like actual like school grading.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I give it more like a damn. I kind of don't want to give it. I want to give it an average. Like 7
Yes.
seems too
I
high,
would
but
say
it's a
6.
it's a
Yeah, I would
it's
say
a C.
6.
Yeah.
At least for my own personal, I kind of took the Anthony Fantano method, like something being like a strong, a light, decent, or
Okay.
like that. So for me, it's like it's a decent 6. 5 is like barely passable. Like you made the bare requirements. Like this is a story.
Yeah.
Like a 5 is like a DMC story or like DMC 5, and it's sort of like it makes sense. Congratulations.
Okay.
That's the first time it's ever happened.
When I guess my grading system is like I see it like how I said like grades. So like a 7 is a C, but I guess in a lot of things like that, it can be kind of weird in this.
Because you kind of run into the problem like the 1 to 5. Too many things are a 3.
Yeah. So
You're looking at you, Adam Sessler.
Yeah.
I will give this a strong 6.
Yeah.
I'll
At
take
this,
Yeah.
yeah,
a 6.9 to be exact.
Because I guess the best way to put it is, would you say that this is the same as Food Wars?
Oh, that's an interesting way to put
Yeah,
it.
it's like, would you rate this as, because if you give it a 7, then you're saying that you view this about the same as Food Wars. And for me,
yeah, then no.
Yeah, for me,
that's a good way to put it.
For me, I would not put this anywhere near Food Wars.
Not at all.
Right? Like, as bad as that ending was for like me personally, I would not put Uzaki-chan anywhere like near that in terms of enjoyment.
I'm gonna use the base scoring system now. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, strong 6,
Mm-hmm.
medium 6. I don't know.
And I'm
Transition.
just not going to give a score because I don't
You
care
don't care.
anymore. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But it didn't deserve all the attention it got, or at least the negative attention. Like that was such a.
It's very
Yeah,
average.
that was some bullshit.
It was
Yeah,
dumb.
It's just a
but
very average show that had a really dumb controversy.
The big titties aren't gonna hurt you. I promise. They'll do the
fine.
exact opposite.
Yeah, it's
Unless
just
you
And
suffocate.
she's not a kid. Like I get it.
But no, she's a college student.
Yeah.
she's an adult.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though her biggest crime is that stupid fang.
The
That
skin fang.
The flesh.
It really
Thing.
disturbs me. Like, just give her like a real one. You know, like actual teeth, not fucking just weird skin fang thing.
Uzaki-chan wants to get new dentures.
But yeah, it's solid. It's something
Yeah.
to put on. It wasn't
6 out of 10. We need more, Mom.
for for me. It was like I said in our first episode how I watch anime. I kind of need something to get like in the mood to watch anime, and that's for me is like the first thing. That along with the next thing I'm gonna talk about, HxEros, which I dropped. Which
I saw
pissed
it on
me
the list so many times. Can you briefly remind me what that show was?
HxEros, basically, they're aliens that come and steal the horny from people and make them all sad and boring. So these high schoolers are in like this Sentai team, and they use the horny energy they got to fight the aliens. And that's it.
Okay. All right, because you
Yes,
know what I was
basically-
fucking thinking of? There was a card game called Wixos or something.
Oh,
I was thinking that. I'm like,
oh no,
what
no,
the
no,
hell is
no,
this?
no.
What the heck is this? But no, it just got kind of annoying the more and more it went because they really focus on Kirara, the blonde chick, and she pisses me off too much. And like the main character Retto, like is way too in love with her when he's fucking stupid and just has other options. But he kind of is just like, no, I love her for what she used to be. I'm like, well, tough shit, bro. That's not how she is anymore. And obviously, I stopped it. I stopped watching, but maybe she got better. But I doubt it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this like the worst version of like To Love Ru?
No,
No.
Oh, okay.
not even close.
Because I just heard like horny and alien. I'm like, Teleru?
No, it's not even,
No.
they're not. I wouldn't put them in the same plane at
Oh,
all.
okay.
So
I'm not saying like in quality. I'm just saying like, are they similar?
No, not,
No.
like, no,
Oh, okay.
no, like, when I say same plane, I mean like not even like the same genre.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put them in the same.
Like these are like real bug alien looking
ew.
things.
It's like terraformers
Not as
No.
disgusting.
with the
yeah.
with the Obama roach.
No, like I
No.
said, not as disgusting, but
more just like generic
Keep going.
women bug looking things.
right. So as someone who finished the show, would not recommend to anyone.
I mean, in the first episode we put out, I said I would if you want to watch this for the horny, but then like I got pissed off and I was like, just go watch hentai and shit. This ain't worth it, bro.
This show is very average, even below average at many points.
Also, B-boy, look at the image. Go on.
Oh my god.
Oh, I can't wait to
Go
see
on.
what he put up
Yeah,
there.
but anyways, the show is below average. A lot of things that you
That's nightmarish. I'm sorry. I just saw Base's photo. That's disturbing. I kind of hope you don't put that in the video.
I kind of hope you do.
that looks nightmarish.
That,
Jesus
you could
Christ.
title that as Base's interpretation of this show.
Anyway, but yeah, it's very below average. Like the thing, because the premise before this, like I said last episode, the premise seemed really interesting. Take like a Sentai style like take on it, but make it hell etchy and I was just like, cool. If we can just make it like fun and shit and not fucking annoying, all this dumb melodrama that doesn't need to happen, we could have been something decent. But they didn't. They took what could have been good and just like, let's just flush it down the drain. Just focus on this quote unquote romance that isn't a thing. And like, it's just, it's so frustrating.
okay. Well, for people who don't know what Sentai is, it's basically Power Rangers.
Oh,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
it's-
They're basically like they're Power Rangers who are powered by how horny they are. That's basically what the premise of the show.
Hey viewers, when you watch Power Rangers when you were a kid, that's Sentai. They just took the footage from some of the scenes.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. So
Yeah, and so like I guess like the biggest thing for me too is that the costumes that you see them wear, they don't get those costumes until like the last episode.
that's like some
basically.
episode 2 or 3 thing where you get the suits, let's get the roll call.
Or it should be.
Yeah,
episode
and let's
2 or
get
3
this
then.
shit rolling. But nope, you told me that the second last episode they get it and they don't even use it till like the last episode or whatever. That's some bullshit. That once again we got blue balled from the opening
Yeah,
again.
The show is just very mid. I really only finished it because it's like I was so close to finishing it anyways. So I was like, why not? I'll finish watching it. It's something that I knew that I'd probably be the only person to finish it at this point anyways, because I knew that at this point for you, Galdred, that like you just didn't care
No,
anymore.
I gave up.
Yeah,
I
like
gave
you
up
just didn't
so hard.
you just didn't care anymore. So I figured I would come around and finish it off. And so the ending for HxEros, if they didn't come out with a second season, then it would be fine where it is now.
Okay.
Like yeah, the way they ended it'd be pretty much fine where it is.
I give it a strong 3 or 4. Low 4, strong 3.
Were there at least some like decent lewds or anything of the sort?
I
What?
mean, yeah, I guess so.
That's what I said.
certain
You can go
parts,
watch
yeah.
for the horny and you'll fucking get it in spades. But it's just at some points it kind of pisses you off because
Yeah.
like the focus isn't on that, which it should have just been. You should have just took the HxEros, the Edo part of it, and just ran with it. But it's like they can't. Like yeah, it's there. It really is. But just,
The show really tries to make you use your brain for some reason.
like no, damn it, it's not why I'm watching the show. I come here, watch it, get in the mood for anime, and let's just fucking rock.
Yeah, 'cause
but it
they-
just doesn't.
Yeah, they try very, very hard to make you care about the
Bullshit romance.
Yeah, well, and the thing is too is like for like Ero manga and stuff like that, it's like or series that have like a lot of ecchi and stuff like that, right? Like the romance tends to be the thing that they focus on, but in this case, like they try very hard to make it serious. Like they want you to really, really care that Hoshino got her horniness stolen from her by an alien bug monster, and that it's really important that happened, and that a lot of characters wish that didn't happen, and you get reminded of it pretty much every episode, at least once, maybe twice, sometimes 3 times. You're just reminded constantly about how these bug aliens need to steal people's horniness, and it was funny at the start, right? I believe that we gave it a pretty decent overview this first couple episodes or so when we talked about it in the first episode.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not something worth watching.
Nope. Not at all.
And if you thought about watching it,
just wait for some dojins, and they'll probably give you better story than what the anime did.
Yeah, and it's just not worth it. It's not even like visually interesting or anything like that.
No, not really.
And
it does the
sound
job.
designs is very average.
I can't even think of a song besides the opening, which I hated,
Yeah.
and the ending, which was whatever.
Yeah.
You got a score for it
it?
since you actually finished it?
Probably like a 3. Like, because they didn't infuriate me like Rent a Girlfriend. So
Yeah, I was kind of like,
But then at the same time, I guess it's probably even worse because I didn't care about it at all. So I guess it
didn't give you an emotion.
Yeah, it didn't give me any like emotional resonance, and it's not even a show that like I could turn my brain off on because it would just constantly remind me. It's like, hey, things are happening, and I'm just like, but I don't care that things are happening. Just give me what we all know that the people who are watching this for are watching it for, and they didn't. So I got to give it like a 2 or even a 1, honestly.
Fuck.
Yeah, because it's just that I just didn't care, right? Like at this point, right, thinking back on it, right, I might as well have watched Uzaki-chan instead of this to completion.
Probably,
Because because at least with Uzaki-chan, right, like I probably would have felt like slight annoyance at Uzaki over feeling nothing at all while watching this. Like I think there was one point where I was watching the episode and I just turned on Arknights and I just started, it's like, and I was grinding on Arknights.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored by Arknights or anything like that, but I was grinding out like my dailies or something, and I was watching the screen, but like everything that was happening on the screen was just like flying over my head as I was pushing the retry button to go through my stam, and I had to like rewind the episode like so many times just so I could remember what was going on. And it was just so boring.
Yep.
Boring and just didn't catch my attention at all. It's just very, very like not worth your time, essentially.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Is there anything else for summer you guys want to talk about?
I guess technically it counts. This will be the connecting bridge. Burn the Witch.
Burn the Witch. Sorry, anyone that watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge.
Pretty much came out like dead ass like last day of summer / beginning of fall.
Well, I mean, it came out October 1st, right? So
No.
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 What was it, like the 2nd or the 3rd?
It was
something like that.
It was like a few days ago.
I don't know. I didn't watch it. So
It was close enough to where fall stuff was
sure,
just
we
beginning.
can talk about that and then just go into the fall.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
why I said it's the bridge connecting.
Yeah, sure. Go. I haven't seen it, but Base here like found a new religion, and like it's all, he's gonna start passing out pamphlets soon, telling us to join.
Oh
the Church
yeah,
of
we're
Noel.
already strong. But aside from that, obviously, if you don't know, Burn the Witch is a spin-off from one of the big 3 mangakas, Tite Kubo. And yes, it is connected to the Bleach universe, but you don't necessarily need to have finished Bleach to watch it, but I feel like you wouldn't necessarily appreciate it as much. It's still good. Studio Colorido, I think, did a really good job.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like visually, it's really pretty, and I really like all the watercolor backgrounds.
Oh yeah, like visually it was stunning, right?
And it was coming off of a shitty Rent-A-Girlfriend sound to that, it was night and day. I really liked it.
The soundtrack was amazing.
So what did you think?
So I guess I'll go into like one of the small issues I had with it. Well, I guess you could even. I guess it's like one of my biggest issues with it. But
Okay.
Like it's probably just like it's kind of like a nitpick in its own way.
It's not like it didn't kill it.
Yeah, it didn't kill it for
Okay.
me, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
but I kind of wish that they adapted the one shot instead of the 4 chapters that take place after the one shot. So because it assumes that you read the one shot before watching this.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things that they don't tell you in that's like in this like movie, I guess, this hour special.
Yeah, it was it dated the Digimon thing. It was released in theaters in Japan.
And yeah,
But then
and
they're
they
like,
split it into,
but
like,
clearly everyone else likes episodes. We're like, okay.
yeah, and they split into like this 3 like mini-sode thing, where like each like 20 minutes, and I don't. It's like, and that was probably like my biggest gripe is that like if you didn't read the one shot, man, were you probably confused about why Blondie, damn, how can I forget?
Balgo.
Yeah, Balgo. While Balgo was around, because you know that he's what was the dragon? He's called a dragonclad. Yeah, that he's dragonclad because he's interacted with a dragon for a long time, and that they have to watch him. But it doesn't explain like how he became a dragonclad.
Yeah, well,
or anything
neither
like that.
neither of them do that. They just show that he is, which I like that they added that scene where he
Well-
meets Macy,
Well, the thing
and
is,
then he passes on the dragon, or at least they say he passed on the dragonclad.
yeah. Well, I
abilities.
mean, in the one shot, you know that the reason why he's a dragon, it's like the dragon that he interacted with such a long time was his best friend, right? His
yeah.
best friend who, as a child, got eaten by a dragon and like replaced.
He became.
who became
what was the word? That was a term. Not pretender, but
Was it a gray pretender?
yeah, disguise or there was some term.
Yeah, either way, like he disguised himself as his friend, and like he grew up with the dragon, and that in turn, because the whole point of being like a dragonclad is that you've been doused, because I guess the dragons give off like some type of energy that's poisonous to humans normally.
It's actually the reverse, which is funny. Like dragons being around humans, they absorb their negative energies,
And it makes me like.
and that's
worse.
also how they gain sentience and intelligence.
Yeah, and at least there, like it's like you get a little bit of who Balgo is and how he's Noelle's like senpai and stuff like that from school, which they sort of mention at some point, I guess, like in the second part, right? Like in
Beginning part.
Yeah, did they mention it like at the beginning? Because I don't even remember them mentioning that until like later on, where she calls him like senpai, like just random.
They brought up their
outfits.
schoolmates, and then they bring that up.
Yeah,
in the beginning and then the end.
Yeah, and like that's probably like one of my biggest nitpicks is that I would have preferred that, because, and as well as like Nini being like the leader of the idol group or whatever, like they go more into that in the one shot as well.
No, that's more the manga.
Yeah.
The one shot, they only show the billboard of her. That's all they show, and that she's like drink something. That's all they show.
Yeah, I mean,
Because like the anime actually does more for that when she's like beginning has the paparazzi, and they have like the news articles and the CNN or the BBC.
Either way, I just feel like you missed out on quite a bit from missing the one shot, because it just assumes you've read it.
You should for sure read it, but
Yeah.
I also feel like a lot of people who are excited had already did that.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure, but but
It
like,
was just
I'm
weird that they only chose 2 scenes from the one shot, the very beginning and then the very
Oh,
very
you mean
end.
the parts that don't fucking
Yeah.
matter?
Well, no,
Well, I mean,
the
I
sign
guess the Soul
does.
Society
Yeah,
part
that
matters,
definitely
but
mattered.
But that's such. That
It's
part,
really
Yeah,
weird.
it's such an it's so insignificant in like the grand. I shouldn't say it's insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but it's such like a small scene to take out of the one shot to throw into the.
Yeah, I don't know
movie that
why
was,
they
like-
didn't do more of the one shot, but
Because like for example, like for someone like Galdred over here who hasn't read it, right? Like I don't. It's like I imagine he would have been like, "Why is Balgo so important in the first place?" And he would have just been like, "Why is this dumb blonde dude just around?"
Yeah, because before you guys told me all about the whole one shot thing, I'm eventually going to watch it. I just would have went in blindly and just be like, I'm so confused.
yeah, you should finish. I would say please do finish Bleach, because there's just a lot of.
Yeah, I started reading Bleach since the
The
last
thing
episode,
I
but-
like about it most is just like I've always loved TT Kubo's world building, and then like the theory crafting that comes from this, and hopefully will be rewarded, is like how does this fit in the grand scheme of Bleach? And I will do my best to not spoil anything. I'll just reference certain things you'll come across. Like I won't say anything.
I mean, this gives a big plot hole to Bleach, honestly, in my opinion. But
Well, yeah, we'll probably get there because the novels are doing a pretty good job of like filling in the gaps so far. Because it takes place 2 years after the end of Bleach, so not necessarily the like actual end, but the end of like the big battle you're gonna come to.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's where I'm just like, where do the witches and wizards fit into the grand scheme of things?
yeah,
Like,
because again, there's a huge plot hole that he brought in by introducing them being like the Western bloc of Soul Society.
mm-hmm.
like him doing that makes like a huge part of Bleach. I mean, he makes a huge part of Bleach just feel like, okay, that feels really dumb that this thing didn't happen there because you introduced something like that. But
we'll eventually find out because this is just one big appetizer, which I liked. Other than like you said, them not adding in more.
I mean, there are a couple other nitpicks that I have too, but like I'll get to them as we talk more about the.
But what I do like is just them bringing more of the action and like seeing them in action, being because at first they're more part of like the conservatory part of Wing Bell.
Yeah, that was also another thing too, right? Where like I feel like they weren't nearly as clear on that as they were like in the manga. Maybe like I'm just remembering it.
No, they were pretty clear about it because that's why Nini's so upset about it. She's like, I want to do bigger and better things, and then Noelle's like, no, I like being part of the conservatory.
Well, I mean, they mentioned, well, I want to join the Sabers. And
the Sabers.
Yeah, and it's like, well, we're part of. It's like, but I'm fine with being part of Wing Belt or like it's like in being a Pied Piper. And for most of it's like, and they do show that like there are like different divisions within.
Yeah,
just like you expect from like Bleach, right? But again, for like a person who doesn't know about like the different divisions thing, like seeing them talk about it because they talk about it before they introduce that there are divisions within like the block, and so they talk about it a little bit earlier, and that in itself is kind of a little bit like, well, are they talking about being in like? It's like, are they in like the same group or is it like different divisions and stuff like that? I mean, they do clarify it a little bit later, but again, it's like a nitpick, right? Nitpick on my part, where I feel like it just wasn't for like someone who hasn't read it, right? Or like someone who like doesn't know anything about Bleach. It would be like they just throw out names and you're just expected to like follow what they're saying at that beginning portion, and if you don't understand like what they mean when they say those names, it just is like, I wonder what it's like. It's a I wonder what that is, and they don't really clarify it very much as it goes on.
Yeah, just do yourself a favor, read the one shot in the manga.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it was cool seeing them like at their day-to-day activities and like the magic they use. I thought was cool. Obviously makes people think of like Keto. But, like that's where the interesting comes in. Like, oh, I wonder, is it Keto or like how does magic, how is it parallel to like Soul Reaper's abilities or even Quincy, especially Quincy's abilities? Like that brings in a whole slew of questions. Like who's I need to look up her name because there's a bit of characters in there, but a part of the top of the basically
the
like
leader of the Sabers, right? Is that who you're talking about? The black haired girl. Yeah.
Who had a really like, you see her uniform and you're like, oh, I wonder if she's related to like a certain group of people. What's her name?
I will also say this too, is that it is very confusing if you think about the fact that they're part of Soul Society because they're all alive. Like none of them are dead, right? And, like, that's kind of like a big thing about Soul Society, and like that was a big taboo.
Unless like Bleach. Reverse London is like some sort of parallel of that, because like they stress the importance of like being in front in Reverse London.
Oh, it's like, I mean, and I get that. It's just that like it brings in like a huge plot hole about how they made a big deal about people from the world of the living coming to the world of the dead, and but then Reverse London is all people
unless that's specifically the
alive.
East, because they confirmed that Soul Society we've come to know is the East Division. Unless that's solely their pun intended. Unless that's solely their responsibility.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, maybe that's just specifically them. Like they're the balancers, and then West Division deals with more like real world mythical creatures.
I mean, if that's the case, then again that brings in like a huge plot hole into a specific part that we'll talk about later when Galdred finally gets there. And again, like, I'm just gonna keep repeating it, but these are just nitpicks for me. Like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I enjoyed it a lot, but there are a lot of things that
I think we just
have brought up.
We have to wait for it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be brought up at some point in season 2. That's what he referred to as, because it's confirmed that we're getting more.
Or I guess another thing I didn't really like. That was like another nitpick of mine is I didn't like how the American Cinderella how she went out. I like that fight was like visually that fight was stunning, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was great, like seeing it happen, and then seeing like the leader of like one of their divisions like fight it, and like his fighting style, how like he's basically like a tagger. So
Bruno.
yeah, and how like his whole power set, right, comes from him tagging or like taking like a spray can and painting like circles and stuff like that, and
Okay,
like automating cause
Making like
spells.
seals.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just like, you need to finish your sentence because it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, and like that was really cool and all, and like that fight is just really cool looking, and like the whole thing is like Cinderella is like American. It's like so like the second half of like this special or whatever, they have to fight like one of these like crazy legendary dragons.
They're like based off of like fairy tales. This one's
Yeah.
based off of Cinderella.
And basically like they're like apocalyptic like beings that like they have to take out, because if they don't, then like they're gonna destroy everything. Like Cinderella has like this crazy power where like she's got like dust in her wings that like basically just like explodes, and the fight is really cool looking and stuff like that, and then Cinderella just kind of gets pinged at the end and dies in a very very anticlimactic
I honestly
way.
thought it was hype because I liked again, like most of this that kept me going was the intrigue. I'm like, oh fuck, who is Billy Banks Jr.? Because after that they mentioned that like, oh, that's the son of a hero for you. I'm like, whoomst. Which by the way, I really don't like what's it called, the like fan theory behind that. It's really dumb.
I mean,
That he's the son of Yamamoto. I'm like, no, that's so dumb.
I don't want to go into fan theories for this one.
Yeah, I'm just saying like that's one that keeps popping up.
But
Like,
if that is something that's just dumb on so many levels.
Yeah.
But I don't like that there wasn't a lot of setup for that either. That he could just go ahead and just
do that.
Yeah, you could just go ahead and do that from the beginning, and in turn that kind of made it feel like I guess in Bleach, right, most of the captains became kind of cannon fodder anyways at some point or another,
More or less,
with exception of like a handful of them. And I guess in this case it made Bruno just seem really really like
he was already kind of getting moded from the beginning.
Yeah,
which
that's something I also didn't like, right? It was that like for someone who is in charge of like one of their like big divisions or whatever, he was getting his ass rocked pretty hard by like these two randos.
Yeah.
Like I mean for us, right?
Yeah.
Noelle and Nini, it's like
Nini.
Yeah, Nini are both the main characters, so like we expect them to do really well, right? But for him it's like, oh man, they're just two random girls who are part of another squad and they're kicking my ass. And he's just like, but why though? Like and like that's like another thing I was just kind of like, I guess like
It worked for me because one, I didn't really necessarily I cared about him more in the anime because he does a lot more things in the anime that he doesn't do in the manga, like you said with his ability.
Yeah.
So I like that. I just thought he was kind of a punk. So seeing like Noelle make all these like really quippy marks at him, it worked for me personally. But I could totally see that.
I like that she made the remarks. Right?
Yeah,
I just don't like how she was kicking his ass.
I mean, I love that. That's
Anything she does
that's really
is automatic, man.
but it also worked too. I was just like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like it was just kind of like subversion. I know people don't like that, but like in this little instance, it was like, oh, he should be more powerful, but maybe he's not nearly as like smooth as we think. And plus, and more personal, there was a lot of like fangirls on my own personal like social media page that were freaking out about. So I'm like, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha.
And see, for me, it's just like, damn, that just really messes with like the power scaling of how this world works, and that already kind of annoys me because Bleach ran into that problem way later on in the series, and I don't like that that's so prominent so early in Burn the Witch. I mean, I'm hoping that like as it goes on, right? Maybe he just didn't want to hurt them or whatever, so he was holding back. But they also introduced him as a character who probably didn't. It's like who didn't really give a shit about that. So the fact that that he might have been holding back is kind of like, I get that Kubo had to make it interesting.
Yeah.
So
again, for me, I guess that's just where it differs. Like it works for you or didn't. Most of it worked for me. My biggest issues were just like I wanted more. Like I wish this was longer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like a lot of the stuff where it falls for me, it was just like, oh man, I want to know more.
Well,
like it definitely got me like intrigued.
and I think
That's really the biggest difference. That's what he intended, and the question is, did it work for you?
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is that if we got more and like more of my questions were answered, I would feel a lot better about it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think that's the main thing, right? Is that it's not that I hated it or anything like that. It's just that the fact that they left those questions, either they left those questions just so like open-ended for something that potentially wouldn't it's like something that potentially wouldn't have gotten off the ground. I mean, it was going to get off the ground, being made by by such a big. I mean, I shouldn't say that because look at Samurai 8, right?
But this is like
but this is it
definitely wasn't Tite's first rodeo.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, it probably won't happen, but it'd be cool if he somehow brought in zombie powder.
That would
just to like tie in everything, just because, even if it's just a little Easter egg.
What the fuck is that?
That's his first manga.
Okay,
Yeah.
But then
like,
he
what?
started to do Bleach, and then that blew up, and then he said, "All right,
Yeah.
peace." That's just a little side tidbit. Like, oh, that'd
Okay.
be kind of cool.
I'm sure he might.
He
That's
might.
yeah, I'm sure
If
he
he
might,
doesn't, I'm not gonna cry. It's just like,
They're gonna go
Oh,
to a
it'd be so
store,
cool.
and then it's gonna be like on the shelf, literally just a bag of zombie powder.
I'm sure like he'll
That'd
probably.
be fun.
I'm sure he'll probably make like an Easter egg for it or something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
overall, like Burn the Witch was a fun watch.
Tite's power has always been two things: his sense of like visual design, because everyone's really stylish and everyone is always attractive, and if they aren't, that's very intentional. They're supposed to be like some sort of monster character or like some decrepit old person. That, and just whether or not he sees his point to the end, the world is always interesting. So like, I want to know more about it, and typically a lot of the like mega fans feel the same way. How did you feel about Noelle and Nini? We'll talk more about the characters.
I'm pretty like neutral on them, honestly. Well, like personality wise, I'm pretty neutral on them. Design wise, I love both their designs. Both of their designs are
They're both really well.
fantastic.
I mean, Noelle is my queen
Yeah.
and goddess, but like surprisingly, I was going into like, I don't fucking care about Nini.
She grows on you.
She's definitely a lot better because she's not necessarily the biggest hothead.
She's not as nearly as abrasive as
Yeah,
she looks like she's going to be.
I was afraid of that. I'm like, I don't want the tsundere, but she's very like They're both very like matter of fact and pragmatic. It's just Noelle's a bit more aloof about it.
She's definitely the aloof character. Yeah.
She's not. I wouldn't say like an airhead, but like she makes kind of like blank face like remarks, like calling Bruno cringe.
I will say
That
it's
was the best part.
I will say it was pretty hilarious.
That was the part where all the Bruno fangirls were just.
Yeah.
And my heart just.
I will say that was hilarious to me for her to not know who he was.
Yeah, she's
But
like,
I
don't know who you are."
I did expect I honestly expected for her to get folded immediately after that. And
Yeah.
then when she didn't, I was kind of like, I guess.
It was also the situation because like the Cinderella dragon was on the loose,
true.
so that worked out. Obviously love Noelle. Nini was surprisingly endearing. I like Billy, their captain or the director.
Oh yeah.
He's
I
cool.
thought he was funny.
He's funny.
Yeah, I thought
and
he was
the fact
funny.
that he was a part of the Sabers was also kind of like funny too. I'm like, oh, that's why, because you can 360 no scope dragons.
Oh, that's another thing that like came from like the one shot. Remember, it's like he got moved to the Sabers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he
They-
quit and he came back.
they
to become
mentioned
their
it. They
boss,
just
yeah.
didn't show his cape.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the like black. It had the Scorpio.
Yeah,
It's a Scorpio, right? Yeah.
something like that. And like he, because in the one shot he briefly leaves as their captain to join the Sabers, and he comes back.
They said, yeah, because he says that he mentions that he's like, yeah, I was too lazy.
Yeah,
Or
like-
so I'm told.
So yeah,
But he clearly
really,
has
he
the
quit,
power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was pretty funny, and just like the way their kind of like merit system worked and how they get paid.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting too. That's where like
Like, they have a
Nini,
weird
that's where
point system.
Nini and Noelle really shined. You could see what really drives them. Noelle's, I would almost say, almost like a hippie sort of. She's kind of fine where she's at. You can clearly tell she likes nature, and she liked being part of like the conservatory, which like takes care of like certain mythical creatures. Whereas Nini was a bit more. You think she's all about like the paper, which she kind of is, but she really wants the recognition. She like actually has a desire to like protect London. She's so. This is gonna sound funny. She's kind of like the version of Bakugo I've always wanted, like kind of a hothead, but actually has like really like ambitious and like noble goals. So coming from someone who didn't really care about her, or like I didn't anticipate liking her, I'm like, oh, okay.
Damn, I felt like kind of the opposite of the two of them. I saw them both as like extremely selfish characters, right? Because Noelle, and they mention it like at the beginning too, right? That like Noelle's pretty much in it just for the money.
Well, yeah, because she's a student. She's like, yeah, I don't make as much money as you do. You're an idol.
And like her whole thing is that like if I'm not getting paid for it, then I kind of don't want to do it. And the biggest example of this is at the very beginning, where they mention that they have to look after Balgo and like the dragon that he has with him. And like he's getting like dragged around by the dragon, and it's like, and their boss I basically asked them, it's like, hey, you guys should probably go grab him. And she's immediately like, well, I don't get paid, so you can go deal with that. And it's only after she gets the incentive of, okay, well, I got the approval to pay you guys, is when she finally goes after him.
But she also really cared about him. She shows at the very end.
Yeah, that's true.
She also like has some sort of like feelings for him. It was just like the way I interpreted, like she kind of knew someone would take him. Then he's kind of annoying to her, but she isn't the type of character to be like, oh, Baka, that's more Nini, because obviously Nini's the one beating him, physically assaulting him. She's just like, oh, you're the annoying schoolboy that I have to take care of, I suppose.
Because like because for me, like, right, I just felt like they were both, and the thing is that I was fine. Yeah, with them being
they're both, like I said, they're both really pragmatic, which I like.
Yeah,
and I realized what I really like in a female character. I like a girl who works. And Noelle is definitely that. She's like, yeah, I don't have idle money, so I have to support myself. And I happen to be really good at magic. But she also didn't necessarily want like the fame and glory, because she's like, for her, why don't you want to go to the Sabres? Like, this is fine. Yeah, like, everything is Daijobu.
Again, because for me, like the reason she didn't want to get, it's like from what I saw, was she's just like, but then I have to work harder for the money, the same amount of money I'm getting now. And if I have to do that, then I'd rather not.
Yeah, well, it was also a case of like the Sabres were like top of the top, and then the pay grade was like, that's what Nini wanted. She's like, I want to be known.
Well, I also want to protect. Like, she didn't want the money, right? She just wanted the recognition.
Yeah,
like because she made more than enough money as like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she wanted the like fame and glory, but she also wanted to like be involved, which I liked about her.
Yeah, because the Sabres got more fame and glory than
because they're the ones on like BBC and whatnot.
Yeah, and for her, that's what she really wanted, was to be like recognized for her skills, and the best way to do that is, you know, to fight on the front lines. Which, like, in the group that they were in, they weren't really on the front lines. They really just like found the dragons, and then technically another group was supposed to come in and take care of them.
They were like doing exercises or something up north.
Yeah, and that was something that like really like pissed her off, because she felt like she had to really prove herself. So for me, like, you know, it's like I didn't think that those parts of them were like really that endearing. In fact, like it's probably like the things that I like the least about them.
I love that the most.
Yeah, because like, you know, I just saw that as like really selfish traits of them that was something that they like, that they held on to, and as the special went on, they let go of it more, if that makes sense. Like,
sort of.
You know, like they it's like,
or at the very least, it's more fleshed out.
Yeah, it's like they get over like the whole. Maybe we should do it, especially when they get to the point where they put a bounty on Balgo's head. Yeah, and like that's where they really kind of show off their more like heroic traits, for sure.
Yeah.
And when Nini's friend Macy shows up with the crazy Cinderella dragon. Yeah. And so as the episode went on, right, like that's how I felt that they became more endearing, whereas at the start, like, I thought they were more annoying, but that's kind of how I viewed them when I was reading the manga anyways.
Oh, okay. Yeah, manga doesn't do them a lot of justice. This is, again, most of this is just from like anime interpretation. Like for me, like they only got progressively better, but I was really like them. Well, obviously Noelle was all about, and then he was just like a sharp rise. I'm like, oh, okay. I wouldn't say she's like my favorite character, but like again. It was unexpected how well I ended up attaching to her. They make a good duo.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I like the power sets, again, all the different spells. I mean, they're clearly like good at what they do. And there seems to be like a ton of spells, so I'm hoping we get to see more like varied stuff like that. Yeah, like their gear and whatnot, even if it looks kind of funny.
Yeah, the weird like horns that they have that.
They're like guns.
Yeah, they're so like their group is like called like the Pied Pipers, and I guess that makes sense since like their wands, quote unquote,
They're
wands
called
are like
wingbind, and then they have their piper.
their pipe,
horns.
yeah, the horns that like are guns and like
Actual horn.
yeah, actual horn itself.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just want to see more. I'd give it like a strong 7 to light 8. Like, I've always been really into Bleach, and I like this parallel, and obviously I love Noelle. There's really not a character I dislike. Macy was kind of whatever, but we'll get to see her be more important, because that's kind of like the ball go to Nini. So
Yeah,
we'll find out more about her. That's really the only thing I outright didn't really care for. Was like, I don't really care about you, Macy.
yeah,
But you have plenty of time to change my mind. So
I agree. It's like, and I agree with that notion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I give it a solid 7, and that's mainly because I know that the nitpicks that I have for it, right, will be answered. I hope are answered eventually.
I think most of them will. There's a chance maybe they never will, but it's all in the air, all up in the air, and I think Kubo's going to deliver because now he has time on his side. So we'll see. I'm excited for it, both manga and actual anime. I'm thinking Studio Colorido is going to come back. It'd be sick if they did the Bleach anime, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's definitely be something to look forward to, seeing the rest of the Bleach animated.
Yeah, Bleach fans are eating good right now.
Yeah.
We're doing
something I need to watch.
We're doing excellent.
It was.
Well, you're still reading it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm at. They're dealing with all the Arankars. There you go. Yep, and they're going to that other world to go rescue Orihime because she dipped and all that stuff.
Well, she got kidnapped.
Yeah, she got kidnapped, but then like they were just like, "You come with us," and she's just like, "Oh fuck, guess I got to." But
well, yeah, because they were gonna kill everyone.
I know. I was just saying, like she left on like her own. She wasn't like dragged, like obviously she was kidnapped, but like
yeah,
the way she went was like, say bye to one person, say bye, Chico.
Don't mislead the Zoomers possibly listening.
Oh,
like
no.
she left. What a bitch.
Yeah,
Like,
she wasn't kidnapped by
no.
conventional means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was very different.
She had a sniper rifle at her from afar.
God damn it. So going into the fall season now, I know something that's been pretty hyped is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we can start off with a big one, huh?
We start with the banger. Well, it's the first one I had on my list, so I'm just going to say that right now.
I happened to watch both episodes, and I really enjoyed both of them. They delivered.
So, if you use the Shonen Jump app, on the top there's a banner, and it's majority of the time it's the manga for that. So I was like, fuck it, I'll click it, see what the synopsis is like, and it seemed very generic. I did say that. I was like, he has something demon, so he has to become one. I was like, okay, fuck it, whatever. So I wasn't expecting much, but the opening's really good. It's done by talent I like a lot, Eve.
The ending's also stupid good. That's probably like my ED of the year.
Which I haven't gotten to yet. That'll be episode 2 of the show. But I was very pleasantly surprised with everything so far in episode 1.
Oh, okay. So, also to preface this, right? Base, you reads the manga, and Galdred and I don't.
That's true.
Yeah. So for me, like Galdred, right? The premise was interesting enough for me. I just didn't really ever like go. It's like dip my foot into the water to start reading it. And watching this first episode, it was kind of, it's like there were some good moments to it, or there were moments that I liked about it, but overall I'm pretty lukewarm about it. I don't think it's a bad show. And I couldn't even think that anyways because it's only the first episode. But I don't think it's anything like super fantastic or anything like that.
I will say it will get to that point.
Yeah.
Just it's kind of like you kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't start off like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, like certain shows can do. But the concept of like the sorcerers fighting the curses is really built upon, and it's really cool. This is also another kind of darker, I guess, Bleach parallel, I would say, barely, but I think you guys will definitely warm up to it. Whether or not you like love it is up in the air, but especially where the manga is right now, I'll just say anime onlys are not ready for the Shibuya incident arc. That's all I'm gonna say. Just remember that.
All right.
I will also say that like this is like one of the last things I watched, and there's like another anime that we're gonna talk about later that I liked its first episode way more, and I rated every other first episode after it on that scale, and I probably shouldn't have, and
I will say
so that gave me like a very like
for episode 2
it.
it definitely like picks up the steam and really builds the world, and like where Itadori fits in all of it. It's funny because like he actually kind of has a similar situation Orihime has, but you'll see what I mean. It's like gun to the head, like do or die.
I feel like they showed them in the beginning of the first episode. He was all chained up and surrounded by talismans and
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So
They really draw upon that.
I will say that like it's like he's pretty likable at the beginning. You know.
It's like the biggest mystery is like, why is he so strong?
that's what I was saying. Like,
why is he so like gorilla?
Like able to beat world records in track and field like it's nothing. So that was my. I was watching with Yara on the first episode. We were watching at the same time. That was my first main question. Was like, how the hell is like, is there some spiritual shit going on? And then like that other, I
was like, yeah, there's
dog
no
dude was like, there's no energy. How the fuck?
Yeah, I will say like that kind of turned me off a little bit, to be honest. Starting off, I would have. It's like maybe it's like I know it would have been like really even more generic if like he had like some sort of hidden power already or something, and maybe he does. I just don't know yet, right? Or maybe he does, but like seeing him break all those world records, I was like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, he's a shonen protagonist, all right. And that's just how I felt about like the first episode. It was just very middling for me. The fight scene was really cool. That came at the end. Yeah, they fought like the cursed demon thing. Like that was really cool.
Gotta eat a goddamn finger.
And that was interesting, to say the least.
And I thought it was really endearing showing off his grandfather in the first episode.
Yeah,
we also thought he was gonna die way later. That's what I thought. I was like,
like
he'll be like a thing.
Straight up croaked. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I was just like,
he doesn't have time to even process that, but you kind of get the idea of how he feels about death.
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting.
Definitely surprising twist. Like I thought that'd be, I don't know how many episodes it's gonna get, but I thought that'd be like an episode like 20 thing, like midpoint.
Oh yeah, like much later, right?
Yeah, not fucking 10 minutes in.
This is the real world, goddamn it.
Yeah, it's just like, no, be strong, be nice to people, don't be an asshole. All right, bye. And then
really, like his grandfather was there for that, like the be nice to people thing, and like to throw up the mystery of his parents, because he mentioned something like, I gotta tell you something about your parents.
Oh yeah,
and then he's just like, how about no, I don't want to know what you're gonna say about my parents because I'm here with you. Yep. Which I thought was really sweet in its own way, but for his grandfather to die immediately, hard. For his grandfather to die immediately after saying that was kind of like,
he's like, you must eat the fingers of Sukuna. I'm dead.
But yeah, overall, I feel pretty strong start. Very much looking forward to what else it has to offer.
I think you guys will like it. I think most people will like it. Like
I want to like it.
I think it's gonna blow up. It's gonna be another popular one.
It definitely has like the foundation to like really blow up, right? Like I
yeah, without
like,
a doubt.
I wouldn't be surprised if it became like the most popular thing during this fall. And a lot of people were really hyped for it. It's like a lot of people are really hyped for it, and
it's got a lot of good manga readers. MHA.
Oof.
Just saying.
Just saying when we get there.
Yeah, well, it's like when we get there. Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, strong start. The other, I want to save the best one for last, and we all know what the best one is. Another one we just watched before we started this episode was Tonikawa. The one where he gets insta-married.
Yeah.
People were super hyped for that.
I didn't know
people
jack shit.
Were so fucking ready for it. And I could see why. Like
first episode,
I heard
I'm
about
ready.
it. Like I've always seen like people talk about it in various forms, whatnot. but there was a lot of hype going into this, so it was nice to watch. It was
very
nice to
cute.
watch a 20-minute episode in 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, my internet was being fucking annoying and just.
It was worth the trek.
But yeah, this season has been starting really strong.
Basically, long
For
story
sure.
short, young boy gets named after NASA. Falls in love with essentially who's going to be like Princess Kaguya. Gets hit by a truck for her. Then they get married. That's the really,
That's the
really,
very,
really,
very
really
basic
short. Yeah.
TLDR.
But it's very sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking wholesome moments in there. I was just like, oh, this is really nice.
Especially for a first episode,
Yeah,
right?
it's, kind of mysterious. Had any of you read those
Nope.
source material?
I've read
I
a little
knew-
bit of it.
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Other than
I just knew music is about it, but like everyone's just like, yes,
we talked.
finally.
We talked about it on when we watched the chart to see what was coming out this season. That's all I knew. Howard gave a quick synopsis, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I read like I want to say about like 15 chapters, maybe like 20 chapters of it.
I'd be like, watch this instead of Rent a Girlfriend. Just realize relationships probably won't ever start this
Oh no, you won't
soon,
stop
and don't get hit by a truck.
Yeah,
But other than
don't
that,
almost die.
like this has the makings of like actual like genuine romance.
Depending.
Watch
how
it for that.
yeah.
Just don't do everything else.
Depending on the rest of this might be a tough one for me. If we say top romance for the year between this and Kaguya, depending how the rest of this goes.
Oh yeah, season 2.
Like, because I fucking love romance anime, like a good romance, like that's hard to do. So like, if this keeps going the way that episode 1 went, eventually when we do it at the end of our year review, that's gonna be a tough one.
I feel like this is going to be like more of a feel good though, right? I mean, like so was Kaguya-sama.
You're like, I
But-
just felt bad all the time. Kaguya.
But the thing about
Fuck
like
that bitch.
Oh my god.
but the thing about Kaguya, right, was that like there were a lot of moments during Kaguya that after watching the episode you didn't exactly feel the best, especially like Ishigami's episodes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was,
Like so that wasn't like an entirely like feel good, surprisingly enough, right? Like it Kaguya brought like a lot more emotions
Yeah.
than just like pure wholesomeness, which I mean it did, right?
Yeah.
But it gave like a lot of touching and dramatic moments, which I don't know, having read like the little bit that I have, if it'll reach like those like emotional highs
maybe
or emotional lows.
So far,
I think
maybe.
the one thing that may be a deciding factor is that like compared to Kaguya, this is like pretty much focused on these two only.
Yeah.
Like obviously Kaguya focused on multiple characters very well, but like that's something this show potentially could have, an upper hand. Like it's just these two, so it's obviously easier to put a bunch of like TLC into such a smaller cast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's something I anticipate, but I liked it. I could
Yeah.
I could definitely see why this has
Mhm.
been so coveted and waited for.
yeah, it's very cute, very
Yeah.
wholesome.
Yeah, I'm ready.
To me, again, I don't want to tell you to just watch this and not Rent a Girlfriend, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like this is like the replacement for that. Like here's a token of sorry for making you watch a really shitty romance anime.
Yep. And I will tell you to watch this instead of Rent a
Yeah.
Girlfriend because
Well, I was saying that because like I don't want to be like this is what real romance is like. I'm like, it has makings of it, but please don't get hit by a car.
Yeah, don't almost die
Yeah.
just because you see someone cute. Just cross the road normally.
And like it. Speaking of that, like it's definitely believable, or at least portrayed really well. That like, oh yeah, let's just get married. Like I didn't necessarily have a problem with that. Like that wasn't presented in a bad way.
I mean, it was funny.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, you actually meant it. I never learned your name.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, that was kind of. It almost got sad where he was just like, "Yep, was out for a year, missed class, said fuck college, went and got a job,
Dude,
lived
he
by
didn't go to
myself."
high school, bro.
Yeah.
I know. I was just like, "Oh yeah, you just
He
skipped
did.
high school, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is getting kind of sad." Like he had his life like ready, like planned out, and then just all this
He
just
was
pops
just
off.
going like, wow, that's the one. Hey, baby, I forgot to look both ways.
But then, but then for like 3 or 4 years, he does nothing with his life. He's just waiting
just
to
working.
see her again,
Mhm.
and just nothing.
Yep.
I'm just like, damn, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, and it's not even like, he lived like a full like high school life either, right? He just lived in like this small little room on top of like
Granted,
this liquor store. It looks like
He had a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, he's fucking stacked. But
Yeah,
like,
Like, damn, must be
but,
nice.
but he's not happy.
Yeah.
He's just like, all
Must be
this money,
nice.
and I still haven't
I
seen
want to be
her
miserable
again.
with a lot of money.
Oh, shit.
Or at least compared to like his kombini job, I'm like, you get an apartment and savings. Damn, this is anime. This is make
I was like,
believe.
yeah, I'm like, that probably all he has is like a bed.
Never mind. That's way more emotional weight than Kaguya. It wins.
It's done.
This actually makes a fantasy world fantasy.
Damn.
But yeah, I'll for sure continue with this.
Yeah, same here. I'm very much looking forward to it. As I said multiple times this episode. But
Yeah, and I guess just to let I almost said readers, the listeners know, I don't
read
think
with
we
your ears.
all covered every single like episode 1 of fall anime, but when we do our fall episode, I'm pretty sure we'll be a lot more thorough.
Actually, because during that time we will be covering like multiple episodes.
Yeah,
so we'll be covering at
right
least
now
like
it's literally just episode 1, just first thoughts.
Because I know we didn't get all the episode 1, so that's why I'm saying like
Yeah,
when we finally review everything, it'll more than likely be like all the shows that came out in fall, which a bit more than summer, but not nearly as much because again the Rona will
Yeah.
slow everything down. So, but at the same time, that's good for us because we can catch everything feasibly,
True.
including like OVAs, which I think there's a few. I'll have to go back and look. There's
So-
always something.
So besides the big one, was there anything else you guys were watching this season? Because I haven't.
Oh,
I know you have
Mountain
one.
Climb Girls.
Oh, yeah,
Short,
yeah.
sweet, to the point. Hot girls are climbing rocks, competing. It's hot.
There you go. If you like how that sounds, go ahead.
This mountain climbing is kind of cool. Like, I've only done it a handful of times, and like the fake one's not like an actual like rock formation.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I would never do that, bro.
Fuck that. Nope.
No, I'll eventually do that, but like mountain climbing is cool. It's really good exercise, obviously, and
absolutely.
watching a lot of like Ninja Warrior, that was like a big part of it. Like when they did the American Ninja Warrior, like Europe versus USA and Japan, like Europe and USA were kicking the shit out of Japan because they all had
Nice.
professional rock climbers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And most of that show is just upper body strength.
Yep.
So there's like, yeah, this guy climbs mountains to work and home and has like 20 million trophies. And he just does handstands to walk everywhere.
Shit.
But replace that with cute girls. I'm like, oh, let's go. And then
I'll be honest, I'm probably not gonna watch it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
This is just probably just a me pick.
I'll probably, here and there.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, because
Depe-
I watched Tamayomi. I'm like, oh, finally a real sports anime. Which
Gotcha.
to its credit, it actually had a lot of like really
Yeah, I
good
forgot I was
info
gonna
on
watch that. I did
baseball.
not. Yep.
Like it was really well developed, and there was not a single man. Me and our other homie counted. There was no men in there. So it was
There
sick.
you go. It was sick. I mean, obviously I'm not done watching everything for the fall, but if there's not too much, then yeah, I'll probably watch
Yeah,
the
and we'll-
rock climbing.
Mm-hmm.
you
Anything
got one? I know you
else?
Oh
got
yeah,
a
so the other anime that I watched that these two had watched is it's light novel name, right? So it's gonna be
It's gonna be
pretty
super
long-winded, but it's not nearly as long-winded as most others. It's called Our Last Crusade or The Rise of a New World.
There you go.
And the basic plot of this story is that there are like two nations at war, right? One is like all machines and stuff, and the other one's all magic. And they've been at war forever, and it's basically Romeo and Juliet. Like one soldier on, it's like we're one soldier on the Empire side, or like the mechanized.
The mecha side.
Yeah, the mecha side, and like the princess from the magic side meet and fight each other and basically fall in love. Like it's kind of like the basics, the very, very basics. I read a little bit of the light novel, and I've read a little bit of the manga, so I kind of already knew what I was getting into as I was watching this. And it's a lot more, obviously it's gonna be a lot more action orientated than like Romeo and Juliet. The start of it it's a solid first episode, just like all the other first episodes we've watched. And there's not like really much that I can say like about it aside from like that very, very basic premise there. I guess like the start of the episode starts with the main character. His name is Isuka. And his whole thing is that like he like a year before the start of the series he goes and he frees this captured like mage from like the enemy side, and because of that, right, they locked him up for an entire year. He was basically like their strongest fighter at that point in time, but because they're like, well, you know, we used up a lot of resources to catch this witch, and now you're in trouble for it. Only for like a year later, they're like, well, we kind of need you to fight this other witch who's just really, really strong and kind of killing all of our guys. And, you know, he goes and he fights her, and at the very end of the episode, they happen to meet up again in like a neutral area, like where the fighting stops between the two nations that like borders the two nations, and it's a very kind of like, oh wow, fancy meeting you here, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. And it's a very, very vague summary because a lot of it is just it's a lot of more watching because the bulk majority of the episode is just a fight between him and her, and it looks impressive. It's very impressive.
Look forward to watching that.
Yeah, the power sets are really cool. Music was fine, and there's not really much else I have to add on it.
All right,
like
cool.
if you like those like Romeo and Juliet type like stories, right? I would recommend this. But if you're not into like something like that, then the show isn't the show for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else for the fall before we get to the big one? Because I got nothing else. I just got the big one.
I'll eventually watch Yashahime. I just get around to it.
I did watch the first episode of Yashahime.
Want to give a quick impressions?
Okay, yeah. So Yashahime, for those of you who don't know, is the sequel to Inuyasha.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, I should also say, there's a lot of like season 2s and 3s in this season that we won't probably touch on too much.
Yeah, we won't touch on those.
So, there's a lot of those.
But like this one's such a huge one that it's kind of have to touch on.
Yeah,
it.
I've seen a lot of discussion about this series.
Yeah, and it being a sequel to like such a beloved series like such as Inuyasha, there are a lot of high hopes for it. And so watching the first episode, it really bangs on your nostalgia because it's essentially just an episode of Inuyasha. You don't get anything from the new characters at all.
Wow.
Yeah, you only get to see them for maybe a grand total like 5 minutes of the entire episode.
Shit.
Yeah, so you don't get really any impressions of the main characters who are, I guess, spoiler alert, even though it's in the synopsis, Shisomaru's twin daughters and Kagome and Inuyasha's daughter. Like, they're the three main characters, but you don't see them. You do see them, but for such a minuscule amount of time that I wouldn't even... I would just call it an Inuyasha episode, because the entire plot of that first episode just goes straight to Inuyasha and what they're doing after, like, the whole Naraku thing.
Oh, that's fine. It already sounds better than Boruto.
Oh, yeah. As far as sequels go, definitely prefer this first episode more to Boruto's first episode. For sure. Like, no contest.
Like, I know that at least in recent times, it's like, it's DBZ for girls. But I'm like, yeah, and? So I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's like, it wasn't bad. It was a solid first episode.
Yeah.
Like we've been saying, right? Like, this is the season of solid first episodes.
Oh, yeah.
From what we've seen so far.
Speaking of Inuyasha, you know what I want to review and return to? Are the Inuyasha OVAs, because they're like, they're way better than they deserve to be. Like, you think Inuyasha OVA, you're like, that sounds lame. But, like, no, all four are, like, really good.
Surprisingly so.
Surprisingly.
Really so,
it does kind of suck that they're all not canon, but, like, at some point, I was thinking of Inuyasha, like, I want to, like, review OVAs of, like, especially really popular.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, anime, like, the Bleach OVAs and the Naruto OVAs. But, yeah, like, Inuyasha OVAs are way better than they need to be.
Surprisingly. And another good thing about Inuyasha is the endings. The ending songs are all really good.
Because it never had OPs. It just had...
Yeah.
Not the last time at Inuyasha, he wind-scarred.
He did some soul stealing.
He beat Blake from Ruby.
Oh, that's another thing.
He's like, oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that's another thing that's really weird, right? Is hearing... So for, like, reference, the three of us in this room watch Inuyasha, like, in dub.
Yeah.
So... Or in the English dub. And so hearing Inuyasha say Windscar in Japanese was the weirdest fucking thing for me.
Well, he loses 5 points.
Yeah, hearing him say Windscar in Japanese, I was like, that sounds so weird coming out of your mouth, man.
Something no kaze.
Yeah, and I just thought it was really, really awkward hearing it. I mean,
My
the Japanese fans, I'm sure they loved it.
Out.
Yeah.
I know. I'll watch it in both if I like it enough, because you gotta watch Inuyasha in dub.
Yeah, like
at least for us.
Yeah, it was just funny.
I don't hear Kai's voice. No thanks.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm really happy for it though, because like this is like the kind of special I wanted for a lot of shows. Like I really wanted this for Beyblade, only because of the manga. The manga is very different. It's one of the dumbest fucking endings, but I love it. Where Kai becomes the president of Japan.
What the fuck?
Yes, you heard that right. The president of Japan.
Yeah, it's really.
And then like Tyson's like, I got a kid. He's gonna Beyblade. I'm like, oh, I wanted that. You fuckers don't deserve it. And Inuyasha gets to eat so well. I'm just like, please, just a crumb of good sequel.
Well, I mean, we don't know if it's gonna be a good sequel yet or not.
No, but I mean, like the fact that it's happening and like it at the very least at face value already looks promising. IMO. So it's like that's like, oh, I wanted that.
I just wish that it was less of an Inuyasha episode and more of a Yashahime
I
episode.
suppose.
But like it's
They gotta like whet your appetite. Like,
yeah,
the gang's back.
yeah. I mean,
And
I
they're
guess
older.
Yeah, like and well, the thing is, it's not even really when they're that much older. I think it takes place like that episode
Because they like
specifically-
immediately fucked like after.
Well, the
The
thing is,
last battle of Inuyasha. All right.
because in
Time to
that
make children.
I mean, in that episode, right? Like in that episode where they show off the adventures of the Inuyasha and Kagome, they haven't even had their child yet during that like little flashback sequence or whatever we're gonna call it.
But he'd already nutted in here. We all know. He already went scarred.
Yeah. Either way, like
With the white scar.
Yeah.
it's like either way, that first episode obviously was just there to pull in nostalgia. You know,
Yeah, the
that's
Tetsuya
it.
was
That's
turning
all it
red,
was.
not the one on his back.
Yeah, it's like it's just a nostalgia episode, so like I can't really give too much value to the main cast yet because well, we haven't seen them. Like we haven't seen them outside of what they've given us in the synopsis, and in this next episode, from what it looks like, we'll finally get a real look at what their personalities are, and I'm hoping that they'll be quite endearing, but who knows? I just don't want it to end up like Boruto. That's it.
All right.
That's all I want. Please.
I'm pretty sure it won't.
Now for the main event, Akudama Drive.
It's pretty good.
That was one of the best first episodes I've seen in recent memory. I was watching with Hyaron, and the show just kept flexing over and over with like its stylistic designs and everything. And just holy shit, bro. Like I literally was just like, oh my god, show, please stop. I can't take any more style. Like, holy shit. Everything about it just hit so right.
So
For me.
Akudama Drive was very, very visually stunning.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very visually stunning.
Minus the unnecessary censoring.
That's the one
That was
big-
my only bugaboo.
Yeah.
Seeing that black strip on Hulu, I'm like, come the fuck on.
It's also on Funimation for those who
Yeah.
are curious.
But outside of that, pretty good.
Like even the CGI looked
Especially
really good.
Because is this an anime original?
Yeah.
I never heard of
yes,
this manga.
yes,
Yes, we looked it up earlier.
Yeah, it's an anime original. Studio Piero is doing the animation. So
Okay.
it explains why it looks so good. And
So I'm happy with that. I always enjoy anime originals like doing really well.
yeah, I was surprised by how well they split the attention between like 7 characters.
All the Akudama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because basically it's like set in a dystopian world, like almost like a cyberpunk-esque aesthetic where Japan is split into like Kanto and Kansai.
Yeah.
And like it seems that like there's a real importance on order, but at the same time there's also like a hierarchy of like
Citizens.
crooks,
Of criminals.
criminals,
citizens
called
too.
Akudama, who take on their own like jobs and whatnot.
Yeah, we saw the when the first girl who becomes like swindler. She before that it said
The
like
main
her
characters,
citizen rank was like C plus. Like the fuck's that?
Yeah,
mean? Like how
it's-
value you are.
So
Very
I was,
loyal
Orwellian.
to
I
society.
was I was getting kind of like the Psychopaths like sort of feel where it's like there's a clear order and clear hierarchy of like where everyone fits in, and like in the beginning where like she runs across to get that dumb cat, but then the car swerves, but it hits like that force field because like you could definitely tell like in this role they think everything like through, like it was very clear like who's what and like what needs to be where. So that's pretty cool.
I was watching the episode. I was like, this girl's gonna get fucked over by these damn cats, and sure enough, she gets in this damn predicament because of a cat.
Yeah, Yoriichi.
I was like, I knew it.
But the episode was just so good.
It gave us quite a lot.
I made the wrong choice of watching this first before I watched any of the other full anime. So like my perception of all the other fall anime were colored by this anime and by this first episode of Akudama Drive. And Akudama Drive's, it was just like every note hit, right? The music was really good. The visuals were amazing, and the fact that they were somehow able to split up enough like meaningful time between each of like their prominent characters.
Yeah, they all had good intros.
Yeah, as well as like push the story of the first episode through as cleanly as they did was something that like I feel like again we haven't seen in a while, right? Like I don't think there have been.
Well, we have, but it was really bad. Do you remember Junie Tyson?
I said something good. I said something good.
That's why I said
explicitly
bad.
said something good. Yeah.
Other than that, one that was good. I don't have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah.
It's been such a long time.
I just loved all the damn intros they did. Like as soon as like the different Akudama, which they don't translate it for you. It just means like criminal or villain. I don't know if we said that already.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But all the intros are so goddamn like sleek and stylish, and just you get each of them. They each get to shine in their personality, like what they're really about, and then they all just have this big fucking clash at the police station where they all kind of blend together. And then like now the episode ended, we're just like we have this mystery of what these collars are. I mean, obviously they're bombs, but like why they're put on them? Like, what's the point? What's this freaking cat? Like, what's gonna happen next? Like, it got me hard. Like, I'm just very excited for this. I finished watching that and I was like, whew, I was like, man, fall's gonna be good. Just this alone.
Do we know how many episodes it's gonna be?
It's gonna be 24 episodes. Or 12 episodes. It's going to be 12 episodes.
Damn it. I was about to say 25. That's fucking awesome.
Huge difference.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's a 12 episodes.
Oh,
damn it. Now my hopes are ruined.
Not mine, but I'm just.
That does set a precedent. Like, it's going to move, like, quick.
As long as they do it, as long as they hit the right notes, I'm cool with it. Like, so the 7, so there's Courier, who fucking, who goes around in his Akira style bike, delivering shit and everywhere. And when they introduced all the people too, they said like their estimated sentences, which kind of seems like a power ranking.
Pretty much,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, and just like based on all the shit they do. So we have that. We have the brawler, the hacker, the doctor, who her introduction was fucking weird. Mm-hmm. Like a guy's having a heart attack and she's like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of the shit. Which her design is also stunning. But while she's saving him, she kills everyone else.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
But then like, I think he ended up killing him anyways.
So I was just like, I don't know what the hell is the point. Like, I get you're a psycho criminal, but fuck, I don't know. That was kind of odd.
It's him, and then you already said the hacker, right?
Hacker. I'm going by the order like they came out. They were introduced pretty much. Of course, the MC who ends up being kind of dragged into it by mistake.
Yeah.
She's Swindler because of some kind of funny
then
bullshit.
There's Hoodlum.
Hoodlum
Who only has 4 years.
4 years.
To put it in perspective, right? The highest amount of years that we've seen so far is 967 years.
Yeah, who is
From a
Cutthroat.
Oh, yeah.
Who basically is just, they say Sasujin, which means like he's just a killer.
Yeah.
Basically. Just Cutthroat's the title they give him. And that's it, right?
Yeah,
for all of them?
Yeah, and it's
And then obviously the cat at the end.
Yeah, which
it's the twist to the
Mm-hmm.
episode. Yep.
We're just like it talks or it has like a speaker. I don't know. I was too fucking blown away.
It talked, yeah.
Okay, I was just like Jesus. And then
I don't know if they're gonna go with like a Yorichi kind of thing or like a darker than black sort of twist with this talking cat. We'll see.
Either way, it's probably the thing I'm most excited for after watching only one episode.
I hope it turns out well.
As long as it keeps its quality.
Yeah, as long. And so far, I don't anticipate not liking any character. Well, maybe not Cutthroat, but only because I've never been a big fan of like the psycho murderers. But we'll see. That's my only like anticipation. I just feel so bad for the main girl. She gets dragged in for the dumbest reason. Granted, she shouldn't chase the cat.
I told fucking Hyawan, we were watching that whole thing, and you know she has an introduction of Courier where like he orders takoyaki and pays, and like he dropped 500 yen, And she's like, hey, this is yours or whatever. And she basically he's like, shut up, bitch. And
It's
like, he
so
doesn't want it.
ironic. Yeah.
And then she's like, all right, here's your takoyaki. She orders 2. She's like, here's your takoyaki, 500 yen. And the old lady who's like, oh, only cash only. We don't accept your stamp bullshit. And she goes,
Basically, her credit card.
yeah. But she's like, oh, but I have money. She's like, nope, sorry. And so she looks down to the 500 yen. And I said out loud to her, I was like, just fucking use it. It's in your hand. He doesn't want it. It's yours now.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And then she gets fucking busted.
That's the kind of society that they live in. It's just like she thought what happened was gonna happen if she used that stolen money.
Yeah, but
so she's just like, I'll be, extra careful. Lol, you're a
get
thief.
fucking booked.
At that point, I would have just been like, give the food back.
Yeah, just like, all right, cool. I didn't pay for it. Here you go.
Damn, here you go. My B.
I mean, for me, instead of like that interpretation of like she felt like she was gonna get busted for using.
She wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah, she wanted to
return
do
it.
the right
Yeah,
thing and return it.
Because at the end, she's like, damn, I still got to return it, even though they're
Yeah.
fighting a fucking mech robot thing that's trying to kill them all. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, I still got to return his money. I was like, it's $5.
That's
Who
the
gives a shit?
Well, I mean, at that point, like that point, she was trying. They were like, at that point, they were asking who she was, and she was like,
Oh, yeah, she said why she's a swindler.
And she was mentioning why she was. It's like that. Hey, you're the guy that dropped the money and I was gonna give this back to you. And his immediate response was, I don't know who you are.
He's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're just going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then, like, the robot that was interrogating her said she was a swindler, and so she's like, I'll just roll with that. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. You kind of signed your death warrant, though.
Yeah.
Getting
it's-
involved with these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Kuryu seems to have the best job because he can go anywhere and everyone will stop what they're doing, including a full-on
Oh,
like gang
war.
fight.
Yeah. Bust through the roof in his bike.
Yeah, and they're like,
everyone's
oh,
like,
it's
oh,
you.
shit.
Thanks, that's my package.
Yeah,
Thanks.
here you go. Here's a fucking
Thanks,
like bomb.
No, I mean, considering like what he does later on, right?
Yeah.
He probably would just kill all of them if they didn't stop.
Yeah, his bike's got like grappling hooks and rail guns and beams
of
and shit.
Crazy shit on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they and his sentence is the second highest. I think it's like 700 years or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, he's pretty high up there.
Yeah. So like I imagine once he popped in, they immediately were just like, yeah,
We're gonna stop.
We're gonna stop.
Sorry.
Yeah. We're gonna let you do what you need to do, man.
And then it's just a bomb from whoever.
Yep. Whoever this mystery
From like
per
the other,
contract is.
yeah, cause he got like from like other gang members handed him a bomb to give to another gang member. He handed it to them. They got blown up.
Who
And the
knows?
head was blurred.
The head was
That
heavily
was
blurred.
dumb, but whatever.
Sensation's pretty dumb, but whatever. I can get past it. So if I said this to you guys before the podcast, if it continues the way it's going now, it might be my anime of the year. If it keeps its like that pace. So like, 'cause I have a lot of good anime so far, but this one, damn, that first episode was so strong.
Considering all the anime, it'll make top 5 for me.
I know
Especially
I know
if they
your
don't
guys',
fudge.
yeah.
If they don't fudge Jujutsu Kaisen, then that'll kind of bump it over for me. But again, the cool thing about anime originals is that like we never know what's coming next.
Oh yeah.
So I have high hopes for it.
Ugh, damn.
It will have to do quite a lot, at least for me to get over Great Pretender.
Yeah, I'm about to say I already know your guys' like #1 contender.
Yeah, either Great Pretender flubs its ending and screws it up for me, or like this show just ramps it up to like 1 million or something and just somehow bumps over that.
At 12, not gonna lie, hearing you go from 24 to 12 did kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried. I don't have as much room to work with it, but
Doesn't mean there can't be
I
a
know,
second
I know.
season. But
Yeah, that's true, but just
it's just
I got
interesting. I'm like,
yeah.
oh shit.
I got hopes. TLDR.
The main thing for me is that with 12 episodes, I am a little worried with how big the cast is.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing I'm worried about, and because I think that it could be good with 12 episodes, right?
I'm just thinking they're probably one's gonna die each episode, or like every other episode. That's what I'm anticipating. With the whole bombs,
with the
and
bombs on their
whatnot.
neck,
yeah,
yeah.
and it being only 12 episodes, so it's like some sort of death game.
That would be really upsetting to me, honestly. At that point, I think I might drop the series if one character dies every episode.
Because they're also strong
They're
characters.
strong, yeah, but again, like that's the whole reason why they have the
Yeah, I meant
I
like
still-
strong
so-
personality. Like
yeah.
they're interesting to
yeah,
watch.
Yeah,
exactly.
like, yeah, which-
I don't want them to just be
But-
one and done, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Like,
all I can say is, if that's right, then I'm immediately dropping the series.
My guess is
sorry, bro. I gotta keep my observations honest. Like,
yeah. I don't want to.
Well, I mean, just like I kept my observations honest about Burn the Witch.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I don't want to bring this up, but I kind of think it's like a Suicide Squad thing.
I think
where like they're gonna be they're
Literally
forced
some kind of Suicide Squad.
because I don't want to talk about
No, I know.
DC and Suicide Squad, that dumb shit. But like they're gonna be forced to work together to do something for this mystery person to get the collars off of them. That's my main guess what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that's it, not this death game.
It makes
shit.
me feel better. I'm pretty sure. The hoodlum's gonna die first.
He seems like the most comic relief.
Unless
though.
they. Oh no, I got a bad feeling. Unless they pull out. Do you ever see the movie Predators?
Yeah.
No.
You remember Topher Grace's character?
Yeah.
What if he ends up like that? Oh no.
Do you want to give context for those who don't know it?
So Predators was like the movie Predator with Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
It's in
Yes.
that where an actual predator sends a bunch of or captures a bunch of random killers to hunt on their planet.
Okay.
And there's like a Yakuza, like former Marine, and there's a bunch of other like special forces people. But then Topher Grace, the actor who plays Eric from That 70s Show,
Okay.
he's there, and everyone's like, "You're just some random dude." He's like, "I'm a doctor," but like he's kind of like the nurse bitch,
Okay.
where he like kills people with like
Surgical
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
towards the end, he's like the second last person to live, because he's like, "Yeah, I'm just a silent killer, and I realized this random plant on the predator planet was a poison, so I poisoned you, Adrian Brody."
All right.
He was like, because he didn't expect he lived to like the very end.
Uh-huh.
It was like the secret bad guy.
Oh.
So that's how I was like, oh no, Hoodlum could be that,
Oh, shit.
or he could just be the fucking chump change. We don't know.
Either way,
There's a
I
lot
would
of-
just be upset if any of these characters died in like a really dumb way. Because the minute one of these characters dies in a dumb way after such a great introduction, like I have no hope for the series.
It would be
immediately
either that or Brawler gets too cocky, because obviously he can tank a lot, but he's always like diving in head first.
Yep.
after that.
Want to see how the main girl deals with all this,
Well, so yeah, she has to
because
like.
we know nothing about her other than
See,
she's
the-
an average girl.
Honestly, her being an average girl makes me more annoyed if this is a death game, because she will obviously be the one to live to the end.
She's gonna be the Topher Grace.
Yeah, she'll be the character to live to the end. And if that's the case, then
It better be done well.
it has to be done
What-
so well that I can
what
ignore
if
the
she
fact
s-
that they're killing all these
What
other
if
more
she
interesting
swindles
characters.
all of them to be like on her side and all that dumb shit?
Again, it has to be done so well.
I'll just say that's
Like,
probably
it has
the
to be
only
done
way.
so well that I can ignore the fact that all these other more interesting characters are getting off.
It only clicked for when we found out it was 12 episodes. I'm like, oh no, they might have to kill them.
And
No matter what though, like, what can't be taken away that this first episode was like up there.
this is the best first episode
Yeah.
of the season, like
Like,
by far.
Easy.
Yeah, like
For me, it's still Great Pretender, but like this is a really close second.
well, Great
for this
Pretender is the
season.
previous season though.
Oh, this
We're
is
saying
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season.
this
I'm sorry, I meant to
season,
say of
yeah.
the year.
Yeah,
so
Oh
yeah.
no, the year I understand.
The
Like, you
year
guys got that.
Great Pretender, a season by and large. This one.
Mhm.
And I would even put this first episode about the same level as Great Pretender's first episode. I would say they're about level with each other.
My only thing is that like I kind of like the aesthetic of Great Pretender more, but this show looks really good. The fact that it can do CGI so well is like, oh yes, this is what CGI artists have always wanted to do.
Right.
This is what most think they're doing.
Right, yeah, and seeing the way they animate Courier's bike in the CGI style, like while it's still very obvious, it's just such a clean
It works well.
yeah, animation and transition from 3D to 2D that it's just really, really good looking. Needless to say.
That's another one of those anime originals that like has a lot of influence, whereas like Deca-Dence had obviously like a lot of like Matrix and other things. This one's like Psychopath / Blade Runner / potentially
Like Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad and what was that Schwarzenegger movie? Not Predator. The one that's literally like the first like death game movie.
Oh, Running Man.
The Running
Running
Man.
Man?
Yeah,
Yeah, Running
I get ideas of that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's a good
like I
movie.
said, if this is a death game anime,
Hero Head drops episode 2.
Yeah.
Wins worst anime of the season.
I do want to say this though, is that like just because it's 12 episodes, I don't think that they're gonna die. I mean, I know that like that's your first instinct, but
I'm pretty sure one of them's gonna die. Just maybe not even by the choker, because like they're in such like they're in so deep as like
Yeah.
criminals. Like at some
I
point,
mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them died, but like for all of them to die though, that's kind of like
that's just a setup. That's just what I'm getting from like the chokers. If those weren't a thing, I'd be like, oh, they'll all make it. This will be Ocean's 11, Blade Runner. But again, we'll see. They might even all just get them off the next episode. That's the best thing about the anime original. We don't know.
yeah.
Yep.
We only have our observations. If anything, this is like a perfect show for us to like meet weekly and watch and like possibly record.
Oh yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Because then at that point we could talk about each episode like pretty in depth. Because like I like it, you two really like it,
Yep.
and I'd only found out via Twitter before you told me. I was looking through stills. I'm like, oh shit, people are saying this looks good and it looked good.
The main reason I wanted to watch it was just because like the poster just looks like the character designs were just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the character designs, I was like, you know what, I really want to watch this, and so that was the main reason. I know that they released like a creator interview that like spoils the first episode, which is the main reason I didn't watch it.
Okay.
But yeah. There's a creator interview that that can be watched on YouTube where like the creator talks about about his thought process behind the series and a couple of things that happened in this episode.
Yeah.
All right, Annie, that's
We'll
that's it
see.
for me for the fall.
Yeah.
I did watch it. I forgot
I know
about it.
I said main event, but Karan was like, well, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I forgot about Ikebukuro Westgate Park.
I still need to watch that.
The easiest way to describe it is imagine Durarara without like the mysticism. So without like the fantasy elements in it, with it's like with a little bit of K where like they have like the color gangs, right? With a little bit of that mixed in. And because the series is about Ikebukuro and how it's like, and how like the gangs there kind of control like that area and like what their influence is on it, and the main character is kind of like this third party who kind of just does jobs for them essentially.
All right.
Yeah. And the first episode is very solid. The first episode is one where like you find out like the main character is like a very like well connected person who knows pretty much like all like the major figures in Ikebukuro, and the first story touches on a pretty heavy thing. And the first thing where it touches on like druggies and like the impact that it has on.
Because this was a manga that was adapted as a live action TV show before it became an anime.
Yeah.
It was really well received.
Yeah, and like this first episode did a really good job of like showing off like impact of that, as well as like the progression of like how it's like of how like how they took care of it in this world with like him and like the main gang called like the G Boys. I know they have like a really funny name.
Yeah.
But like it's very like Durarara-esque in that aspect, right? Because like the G Boys are basically like the dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dollars from Jared.
Yeah, and it's like, and the first episode is just really solid. It shows off like the main character's like personality really well. It shows like his connections, as well as like, you know, who like the prominent like side characters, stuff like that. They kind of introduce the characters a little bit like Durarara-esque, where like, you know, you kind of get like a little bit of their names flash across screen, as well as like a little bit of introduction of them.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely recommend it if you were like a fan of Durarara and like their character interactions or like connections and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch that next. I really do wanna. I was looking for for a while. I was looking for the live action TV show because I know that was super popular when it came out, like 2000.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I had a live action.
because that's how I knew about it. Because I had some other like friends on one of my movie groups I'm in talk about it, and then I found out it was based on a manga. I'm like, oh shit. It was just on the list of things to do, and I heard the anime. I'm like, oh shit.
This is one of the delayed anime too. Like it was supposed to come out during the summer, but instead they pushed it back here to the fall. And
Yeah. I'm excited for that. There's a lot of fall has already been promising, and really summer wasn't all that bad. Granted, obviously had just had, at least for me, a huge stinker just
Yeah.
permeate through it. But other than that, like summer was good. Now fall has a ton of promise.
Yeah, fall has definitely a lot more promise than the summer.
Because at least what I like about fall right now is like there's guaranteed at least one show I'm gonna like.
True.
Yeah, like I don't see this being like they're all duds or mid or just shit. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, when we come to our fall review, it will be a lot more shows on the list.
Which I know
But
in the first episode we're like, oh, it won't always be this long, but I think we went longer.
oh, good.
But I was just
like
like,
I
oh,
said,
shit.
I personally enjoy
I know.
long podcasts.
I
But
know, same.
if anyone is brave enough to comment, let us know if you want us to like do smaller episodes. Because what I'm thinking is we can meet up weekly to watch
Certain shows.
Akudama, and then do that weekly. The little obviously tidbit,
Yeah.
or at least if it's an hour long, it'll be an hour long of just episode 2, hour long of episode 3.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. If our viewers are down for that, let us know.
Yeah, like, please comment. Let us know what you thought about the summer season, anything you liked on there, any of your opinions, or anything in the fall you're looking forward to, or any ideas.
Like every episode or every video on YouTube ever, please like, comment,
subscribe.
and if anything else, just comment.
Okay,
just let us know.
Just let us
what's
know,
going on.
'cause obviously, we're still fresh.
Post a
doing
dumb meme. I don't care.
Say how your day is. That's fine. How's your day? Just comment. How your day going?
So I think the next episode will probably be like,
A lot more focused.
yeah.
Sure.
Because I know we're all looking forward to Akudama, and at this point, the more we talk, we're like, wait a second, there's a possibility it could be something else. So
Yeah.
join us on our journey finding that out. Because
I really hope that's a fucking hot take. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
I'm
never
hoping it's
know.
a hot take.
you never know. I have an ability for these things, so we'll see,
Yep.
and you'll see with us,
That's right.
viewers at home.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and give our ratings for the summer, I guess.
Like the whole, like
overall.
overall.
Like overall. You know,
I guess
Shit.
it's kind of odd because again, Great Pretender didn't finish, but it's still in the summer.
I
have to give it like I give it about a decent 8.
I want to give it. Fuck. I'm torn between a low 7 and a mid 7.
Because again, Great Pretender for me really carried a lot.
Yeah, I didn't.
But Deca-Dence was also a nice, comfy surprise as well. And even in the bad, at the very least, the girls were hot.
Yep.
In Rent a Girlfriend.
I'll give it a low 7 because even though obviously there was Fire Force and other things I liked.
Oh, and Fire Force. At least for what I saw, Fire Force has been consistent, if nothing else.
But for me, there were some obviously Food Wars. There's that sad ending, and just there were things that kind of dragged it down for me, but it was okay.
And
the
God of
next
High
shows are
School,
okay.
I'm glad it finally
God of High School,
happened.
that was solid. Yep. So.
Real quick, we gotta watch No Bullies.
Oh yeah,
That's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, we didn't watch.
we can
that.
mention that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
In
a
the
little
fall.
bit. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
later
but-
in the fall. Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We have a pretty interesting history with that one.
But yeah, for me, I say like low 7.
At some point, we'll do a manhwa episode.
Damn, I want to give the summer season a 6 because
Fuck it, if that's what
because but then I really like Great Pretender and I like Deca-Dence
Mm-hmm.
and I did like Fire Force, but everything else that I watched was either so middling or so shitty that I was like, thinking about it now, like I don't think I would feel right giving it a score higher than 7, but I also don't want to. It's like, but like the highs were high.
Oh, and I guess if we counted, my score would still be the same, but I would say I would support it more if we counted Burn the Witches Summer. That's up to people.
I would say since it came out in October that it'd be a fall.
That's fine.
So, yeah.
I'm still keeping my score,
Yeah.
mainly because my anime of the years. This is also assuming it even finishes decently.
The thing is that, right, like I want to give it like a decent score because Great Pretender is part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same
you
time,
gotta take it as a whole.
Yeah, but I gotta take it as a whole,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I disliked, or I was just so bored, or I just didn't care about so many of the summer shows that it was like, can I, in good conscience, give like the overall summer really that high of a score above average?
What do you score it?
Like,
You're fighting with yourself so
yeah,
hard.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
I was like, just say 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's above average, or it's above average because of 2 shows for me personally, and that's about it. Because everything else either was just really boring in my eyes, or it was so like one way or the other that I can't, in good conscience, say that the summer season was a fantastic season. It's just a very, very like middling kind of, this show is really great, but the rest of these shows are kind of either garbage or just average. So I'm gonna be the stick in the mud here and give it a pretty low score.
If that's what you think, that's your
fine.
opinion.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I like it, and even now thinking about it, I'll probably give it a 5, so make it like right in the middle average, because again, right, like even though the highs were really high, there were just such low lows that like it kind of balances it out in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
where we're at.
That's about it for this episode, I believe. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
This is obviously this is Galdred signing off.
This is Kieran.
This is Base. I'll see you later.
Yep. Next time on Destiny will bring us together.
Yes, probably next week. When does Akudama come out?
I don't know, but
Thursday.
we'll be there.
Thursday?
Yeah.
All right then.
We'll be there.
We'll see each other
Probably.
Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know when we'll see you. That's up to B-Boy.
All right. You guys have a good day.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.